NBC. Today from Rich Stadium, it's the Denver Broncos versus the Buffalo Bills. Brought to you by Mercury, cars that have kept up with the times as much as you have. By Bud Light, the less filling light beer with a first name and taste. And by NCR, who bring you a better personal computer.
Welcome back to Rich Stadium in Buffalo. It's the 6-1 Denver Broncos and the 0-7 Buffalo Bills, but numbers can be deceiving. Hi again, everyone. Len Berman along with Gene Washington. Welcome to Buffalo. To show you how deceiving numbers can be, the Denver defense has allowed more yards than just about anybody in football, and yet they may have just about the best defense in the National Football League.
Well, Lenny, there's a saying around the NFL. You entertain on offense, but you win on defense, and I think Denver does that better than anyone. Last Monday night against the Packers, first play, Steve Foley picks up the fumble, 6 points. Next offensive play from the Packers, Louis Wright's turn, picks it up, 6 points. You know, they're not doing all that well in total defense, 23rd, 22nd. But the important category, points allowed, number 1. Interceptions, number 1. Defense led them to the Super Bowl in '77, and defense is leading the way for this team this year.
Well, let's talk about their offense. Most people know about John Elway, but in Sammy Winder in the one-back offense, they could have the next budding star in the NFL.
Well, it's been a long time. I think Otis Armstrong was the last running back they had to gain 1,000 yards. It looks like Winder's going to do it this year. Tough, really tough runner. And they have Wilhite coming off the bench. He's a good receiver and a lot of speed. So they have an awful lot on offense to go along with Mr. Elway.
So Sammy Winder for Denver, and you'll see the rookie from Notre Dame for Buffalo, Greg Bell. Two fine young running backs today. But how do you talk about an 0-7 team like Buffalo? You can say if it's not for the injuries, it's the penalties. If it's not for the penalties, it's the dropsies. When things go bad, they just seem to go downhill, Gene.
They just seem to be the bad luck Bills. They're really snake-bitten. Last week against Seattle, the Bills are blitzing. The best cornerback, one of the best in the league, Charlie Rones for the Bills, falls down, gets his legs tangled up. Steve Largent goes in for 6 points. They really need a pass rush. They've been playing conservative on defense. Last week they got 3 sacks against them, but they need to get a pass rush if they're going to be effective.
And Gene, what a difference a year makes for Case Stevenson. Last year, his rookie year, 8-8. If he loses today, he starts this year 0-8.
You know, Lynn, one of the interesting things that we've heard since we've been here in Buffalo, there's, of course, Dan Reeves, and what a pleasant surprise he's had, I think.
Sure.
I don't think he anticipated being in this spot, particularly with all the young people he has. But here in Buffalo, in spite of their record, they continue to play with a lot of enthusiasm.
Well, Gene, Denver won the toss, and unlike a week ago when they won the toss and elected to kick, as you look at Joe Danello ready to kick for Buffalo, this week Denver wins the toss and elects to receive. Zach Thomas, Gene Lang are deep. This is Gene Lang in his end zone, and he'll kneel right there, so Denver will start on their 20. And John Elway in the Denver offense, which really sludged through that snow last week. John Sawyer, the H-back, and Sammy Winder, a fine young running back. We'll get to see him. He's number 3. They call him Sidewinder, the Denver Broncos do. Offensive line for the Bronx. They've improved their sack allowances. Last year, they allowed 55 sacks. This year, only 14 sacks of the quarterback. So here come the Broncos. 1st and 10 from their 20. And the one-back offense this year, Sammy Winder, the lone setback. Elway will throw on 1st down. And he'll complete to Butch Johnson.
Elway's pass complete to number 86, Butch Johnson.
So Butch picks up a couple for the Bronx, and let's take a look at that Bills defense. Sean McNanny will start at left end in place of the injured Ben Williams as Buffalo goes with a 3-4. Fred Smerlas, Pro Bowler, man in the middle. Linebackers, Chris Keating, number 52, will start for the fine linebacker Jim Haslett, who's nursing a knee injury. And the defensive backs, Brian Carpenter, yet another in a long line of left cornerbacks for the Bills this year. So call that a gain of just 1 for Butch on the pass play. This is 2nd and 9 from the 21. Elway passing again. Winder. Maybe he gets 2 or 3. So short yardage passes, the order of the day for John Elway.
You know, the interesting thing is that Denver, let's watch the McNanny who's playing out here instead of Ben Williams, number 77, who's the best defensive lineman for the Bills. He's out. This is going to be a key factor all game long. But getting back to Sammy Winder out of here, of course we know he's a good runner, but he's also a good receiver. Now, watch Elway. He loves to throw the ball outside. I think the Bills might try to force him to get the ball into the middle where they'll have a chance to get an interception.
Two backs in this alignment. Gerald Wilhite is in. This is a 3rd and 5 from the 25 for Elway. Throwing deep. And that was Clarence Kay, the rookie tight end out there. But the ball wasn't close, so it's 3 plays and punt as Lawrence Johnson covering in the nickelback formation for Buffalo.
Clarence Kay has not been a big part of the Denver offense. He's only caught 5 balls coming into this game. The key on that play was that the Bills really jammed up Butch Johnson at the line of scrimmage, knocked him backwards off of his stride. Therefore, he was eliminated as a potential receiver, forcing Denver to throw the ball down towards their tight end.
There's the rookie Chris Norman beat out Luke Prestridge, who was traded to New England. Norman averaging 40 yards a punt. Don Wilson, another rookie. He busted a touchdown last week against Seattle of 65 yards. He's receiving, back by his 35 for Buffalo. A low punt. Wilson has a return at the 35. Wilson to midfield, and Buffalo with excellent field position to start their offense. There's Joe Ferguson. The first pass he throws today will be the 4,000th of his career. Speedy Neal gets the start at fullback. Booker Moore is injured. Keep your eye on Greg Bell, having a good season rushing. And the Bills' offensive line have given up 23 sacks this year. Now remember, Buffalo's offense has actually outscored Denver's offense, even though you're looking at an 0-17.
Denver's defense, you know, it's the old saying, they bend but they don't break. Again, they lead the league in points scored against them.
They're starting from just across midfield, so they're actually starting in Denver territory. Here's Speedy Neal getting the start today and picks up 2 or 3. And the Denver defense, which is really doing the job this year. They've scored 6 touchdowns defensively. They have the 3-4. Barney Chavis, the veteran. Reuben Carter, Rulon Jones, a good front 3. Keep your eye on Rick Dennison, number 55. He's been cut twice in his career by the Bills. Maybe he has something to prove. And the defensive backs, we showed you the touchdowns scored by Foley and Wright last Monday night. So called a gain of 3. This is 2nd and 7. The ball at the 46. Wide formation for Buffalo. First rush for Greg Bell. And he fights for a couple, but they're still short by a yard or so of the first down.
This is the area where Denver has played its best defense. We mentioned before, teams have been able to move up and down the field inside the 20s on this defense, but they've played extremely well on short yardage and goal line. Let's see what happens in this situation. This is 3rd and about 2.5, so maybe you could figure this is going. Let's see how they play here.
They come out with 4 wide. Look at this setup.
Oh,
they've got 3 wide receivers on this side, 2 on the other. 5 wide receivers on a 3rd and 2. Shotgun.
there he is, open over the middle.
Brookins dropped it. The story of the Bills season drops you. Someone had to be open when you have 5 wide receivers, Gene, but it doesn't connect. So now Denver with 3 plays and punt.
Lenny, there's a small college in Mississippi that lines up 4 receivers to one side. Buffalo may have taken a page out of their offense. Look at this. Wide open across the middle. 81, Mitchell Brookins. First down, drops the football. Bad luck, Bills.
All right, John Kidd will punt. He had 2 of them blocked a week ago against Seattle. Zach Thomas is back for the Broncos. And not a great punt either. Thomas at his 10. And Zach gets up to about the 12, and that's it. Joe Azelby making the tackle for Buffalo. 32-yard punt, 3-yard return. So both offenses today, 3 yards and punt. When we return to Buffalo, it's Denver's ball once again. So Denver on its 2nd possession, as they will start from the 15.
Well, they came out throwing the ball on their first possession. Let's see what happens.
Clarence Kay went in motion. Sammy Winder, not much. The Buffalo defense starting out strong, as Chris Keating getting the start in place of the injured Jim Haslett, doing the job defensively, Gene.
Well, Chris Keating is playing number 52, playing for the injured Jim Haslett. Feels a hole, but remember, last year he started all 16 games, so he is not new to this position. As a matter of fact, I think he's probably very happy to be back at the middle of the action. But the Bills, if they're going to be in this football game, they must stop the running attack of the Broncos. They must do that.
This is a 2nd and 9 call it from the 16. Is Elway motioning to his wide receiver on this side, Butch Johnson. This one's incomplete again. Brian Carpenter covering on the play. Elway failing to connect. Look at this. That's a 38-yard pass play. Neil Lomax to Roy Green. The Cardinals take the lead on Washington. And look at this one. Green Bay at 1-6. Lynn Dickey 79 yards to James Lofton, taking the lead on 5-2 Seattle. So this will be 3rd and 9. As you mentioned earlier, Denver is a running team, even with the fine arm of Elway. They just haven't connected conclusively in passing situations. This is a 3rd and 9.
The Bills have not got much of a pass rush. Let's see. Oh, that might be a fumble. Elway is slow getting up.
Elway hurt on the play. Lanier covered the ball for Denver, so it'll be 4th down for the Broncos. But there's the pass rush that has been lacking for the Bills.
It has been lacking. They only had 7 sacks. They got 3 sacks last week against Seattle. There's a pressure play from number 57, Lucius Sanford first. Then there's this big shot, throwing Elway to the turf. He got up really slow. The 7 sacks by the Bills is by far the lowest in the entire NFL. As I mentioned before, if they're going to get in this game, they have to put pressure on the quarterback and stop the run of the Broncos.
There's Chris Norman. It was Sean McNanny, the rookie out of San Diego State, with the big hit on Elway. Fair catch called by Wilson. So once again, good field position as Buffalo will take over at their 49. 37-yard punt. So the fill-ins, Chris Keating, Sean McNanny supplying the defense for Buffalo as they take over once again.
For a touchdown in the snowball, as I call it. He's going to be a big factor today.
First down from their 49. Ferguson throwing. Ferguson intercepted by Foley. Steve back to the 45. Steve Foley into Buffalo territory, the 2nd leading interceptor among active players in the NFL. Foley does it once again. Jim Richard finally forced him out of bounds.
You know, the Broncos seem to come up with it when they need it. They lead the league coming into this game with interceptions. Look at this ball, well overthrown. Buster Barnett has no chance. Steve Foley picking it off. 18 interceptions now for this defensive unit.
That's Foley's 37th career interception. He had a 23-yard return. So now Denver in Buffalo territory, starting at the 47. And Elway back in. He was roughed on that McNanny tackle a moment ago. Elway wants to throw again. Elway completes to Stephen Watson at about the 39, couple of yards short of a first down. So Elway completes one. Charles roams on the coverage.
I mentioned before that John Elway likes to throw outside, and one of the reasons that he's effective in doing that is he has a very strong arm. It takes a quarterback with a strong arm to be able to throw those outs. You might only gain 10 yards or 12 yards, but from where that quarterback is throwing that ball, it ends up being a 20 or 30-yard throw. Quarterbacks who don't have strong arms like that are forced to throw more over the middle. But Elway doesn't have to do that.
Lester Hayes likens him to Goose Gossage with a 95-mile-an-hour fastball. This is a 2nd and 2 at the 39. Grabbed down as Fred Smerlas in there quickly to rip him down short of the first down. This will force 3rd down.
You know, we've talked about Sean McNanny, number 95, right in the middle of your screen. Watch the blocking, the double team blocking on him. But number 56, Darryl Talley, the outside linebacker, is the man who comes up with the big play for the Bills.
This is a 3rd and 2. We've played 4.5 minutes, and we have yet to see a first down in the football game. Sawyer comes in motion and makes a U-turn and heads the other way. Winder. He's got the first down, and Sammy Winder to the 33.
Fred Smerlas made a terrific play to get into the backfield. As we watch Sammy Winder, Fred Smerlas shot back in there, almost knocked Winder off his feet, but Sammy Winder, he's not a very big man. He's well built, but he doesn't go down with the first tackle. He's tough to arm tackle him. And that's one of the reasons why he's so effective, and Dan Reeves likes to have him in there. He'll just run, keep taking that pounding, gets those good yardage for him.
6-yard gain, first down at the Buffalo 33. Elway faking. Elway, good protection, completing to Watson, who's nailed the 29 by Carpenter. Good hard tackle by the left cornerback, Brian Carpenter, who came over a month ago from the Redskins.
Well, Elway was hoping to go upfield deep. As we watch number 81, this is Steve Watson down here. He's really a secondary receiver. Elway didn't have the man he wanted on the far side, which was an up and go. The Bills had it covered. And there you see the hard shot. That's number 30, Brian Carpenter, on the tackle.
Gain of 5, 2nd and 5 now at the Buffalo 28. You hear Elway barking the signals. And he loses the ball. Elway picks it up way back at the 45. Elway throws it incomplete for Sawyer. The first back, the only back, Winder, came past him. I don't know if he was looking for another back there or not, but he just lost it and finally throws it away. Elsewhere, Dave Craig has hit Steve Largent for 31 yards. That one's tied 7 apiece. And Walter Payton has run for 8 yards. The Bears lead Tampa Bay 7-0.
Dan Reeves on the sideline with his plays in his hand now. Faced with this 3rd and about 5 or so. Again, will the Bills be able to mount a pass rush to put some pressure on Elway? If they don't, if they sit back in that zone defense that they usually play, he'll lead them alive.
3rd and 5 from the 28 for Elway. Fires to the far side. Boy, nice defensive play by Lucius Sanford. Ball intended for Gerald Wilhite over there. There's Sanford. Wasn't expected to play today, and now he's a little bit slow getting up. He's got a hamstring problem, and he was touch and go right up till game time, and now it looks like he's go again.
That's probably the problem, is that hamstring. Stan David, a rookie, will have to come in and play for him as we watch from the end zone. Again, John Elway throwing to the outside. Continuing to throw the ball to the outside. This is Gerald Wilhite, who almost comes up with a reception here. Let's see if we can see. He had already, I could tell when he went down, he already had his knee or hamstring or whatever it was, it already sort of pulled on him. And when he just flipped over there, he was trying to protect himself.
Elsewhere on the league as they attend to Lucius Sanford. Pittsburgh taking a 3-0 lead. Gary Anderson had a 53-yard field goal for the Steelers. Pittsburgh hoping to go 5-3. And in the Battle of Ohio, a couple of teams that are 1-6. Jim Breach 24-yarder has given the Bengals a 3-0 lead at Riverfront. And Sanford walks off under his own power. This telecast, presented by authority of the NFL, intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Buffalo Bills and the NFL is prohibited. So now 4th and 5, and the punter is on, as well as the field goal. So Rich Carlos may attempt a long one here, and if he does, the punter Chris Norman would hold for him. That's the story. Carlos, happy there's no snow today. Remember him punting last Monday night? Barefooted kicker in the snow at home. This will be a long one. This is from 46 yards away, and Carlos has not hit one over 30 yards this year.
He's lucky now, Lenny, because usually there's a lot of wind in this stadium, and at this point, it's died down, it's calm. Usually the wind would be coming right into his face.
Carlos, a high, short chip shot that's good from 46. Up until today, the longest he had converted was from 32. So a 46-yarder from Rich Carlos gives the Denver Broncos the early 3-0 lead. Denver breaks out on top, 3-0. We'll be right back. Back in Buffalo, where John Elway has completed 4 of his first 8 pass attempts for a total of 19 yards, but it has resulted in a 3-0 lead thanks to the Steve Foley interception. So Buffalo will get it back. They've had trouble in first quarters of games. This is Donald Wilson at the 14. Heads to the near side across the 25, and Wilson is met at the 28 by Darren Como.
The Bills, the first few times they had the ball, started off with great field position. Not quite as fortunate this time. They're going to be starting on about the 28-yard line or so. But Joe Ferguson coming back last week, got his team up against Seattle on that football game out there, but then they lost it on a big play to Steve Largent when Charlie Romes fell down. But Ferguson has been throwing about 60% of his passes completion, so he can be very dangerous.
This time they'll start on their 28. The 0-7 record covers up the fact Ferguson's having a pretty good year. Second man through, Greg Bell. Greg fights his way for about 4 to the 32-yard line. Well, let's check out what's going on elsewhere around the league. Let's send you to New York now.
All right, Lenny, after a quick Green Bay touchdown, Seattle has come right back against the Packers. Dave Craig, who celebrated his 26th birthday yesterday, to Steve Largent, 31 yards for the touchdown, and quickly they're tied again at County Stadium, 7-7. Back to Rich Stadium.
All right, thank you very much. Our score back in Buffalo. Denver leading the Bills 3-0. This is a 2nd and 5 from the 32. And Speedy Neal fights for a first down. Jim Ryan and Steve Busick, the linebackers.
Lenny, where do you think
Neal.
you got that name Speedy from? He certainly has enough size at 254 to play the linebacking spot. Number 3 draft choice this year, playing for the injured Booker Moore.
Do you know where he got the name from? This interesting story there.
I have no idea. It certainly didn't come from the fact that he runs the 40 and let's say 4.5.
I'll tell you in a second. It's a fun story. Here's from the 39, a first down. The Bills' first down of the afternoon. And here's Speedy again. And Speedy is stopped at 1. You're right. It's not Speedy Neal from being 254. It's hard for him to move that quickly. He got the nickname because apparently his mom was in labor for a very short period of time, and he came he came out. They called him Speedy. All right, Miami trying to go 8-0. They take the lead 3-0 over the Patriots. That game in Foxborough. Von Schaumann, a 28-yard field goal. This is a 2nd and let's call it 8 from just across the 40. Figure Ferguson to throw, gets the protection, fires. He's looking for Greg Bell out of the backfield and overthrows him. So this will be 3rd down.
Barney Chavis, number 79 for the Broncos, putting the pressure. You can see that Ferguson, really shaking his head. There's Chavis. He put the pressure on Joe, forced him to throw the football. And it was interesting the way the Broncos played defense on that play was very reminiscent of the way the Raiders play. They had both their cornerbacks in man-to-man situations all over the field. There's a defensive coordinator, Joe Collier. What a coach he is. Respected throughout the league. Been with this Bronco organization for a long time.
And he was a former head coach here in Buffalo in the late 60s. 3rd and 8 from the 41. Ferguson in the shotgun. Overthrows Greg Bell once again. So Buffalo is forced to punt, trailing Denver here 3-0 with 6.5 minutes remaining in the first quarter. And Joe can't be happy with those last 2 passes at all.
Well, when he's throwing to Greg Bell, who's not known for his receiving ability, he's going to have to put that ball right in his hands, right in his chest. Greg's not the type of receiver as a Joe Cribbs was who can go up and make the big catch, the spectacular catch. He just doesn't have that ability. He's running the ball well, but he's not a really terrific receiver. So Joe's going to have to get that ball down and right in his hands.
All right, John Kidd will punt again. Zach Thomas is back for Denver. And again, not too high a kick, but it takes a bounce. Zach will just watch it. And Buffalo will down it at about the 10. So Denver will get it back. 6:16 remaining first quarter. Denver with a 3-0 lead. We invite you to join us next Saturday on Sports World, the rematch of Marvelous Marvin Hagler and Mustafa Hamsho. And Green Bay is taking the lead over Seattle now, 14-7. And the NFC, the Eagles over the Giants, 7-0. Back here in Buffalo, Len Berman with Gene Washington. The Broncos lead the Bills 3-0 on the strength of a Rich Carless 45-yard field goal. And now Denver will start from their own 10-yard line. So Buffalo has had the majority of the field position. They just haven't been able to convert. Winder. A yard or so. The Bill defense doing the job, Gene.
They are fired up today. I mean, they are really flowing to the football aggressively. Their linebackers doing the job. Let's get down in the pits. Number 76, Fred Smerlas. He stacks up the center, Billy Bryant. Then you see the flow of the linebackers. You know, they're playing not like a team who hasn't won a football game. They're playing like a team who's been out in front. A lot of enthusiasm.
And Eugene Marv made that tackle. I'm telling you, they may be the best 0-7 team in the history of football. They've really played well, but they've just been nailed in spots. This is a 2nd and 7 from the 13.
And that's a blitz on.
Elway completes it to the tight end, Clarence Cade, but well short of a first down. Marv covering the tight end on the play.
And he dropped the football. He caught it, dropped it. There you see. They're trying to say it was no good. I think he had possession of it. Let's see what the officials are going to say. Let's watch from the end zone. Watch. Now, he catches this football, then drops it. Then it bounces back into his hands. Catches the ball here. There it goes. Now it comes back.
And they ruled incomplete. So good pickup, Gene. This will be 3rd and 7 from the 13. Good play for Buffalo, maybe to blitz. Put on some pressure. Let's see what they do here on the 3rd and 7. Elway has time. And he overthrows his intended receiver on the play.
Butch Johnson, I'm thinking,
Chris Keating covering, right?
he had all day long.
Yep.
He sat back there. He had all day long. So you have to give credit to the coverage. At number 52, Chris Keating. Let's watch from the end zone. Butch Johnson, number 86. There you see him going across on the right side. Ball thrown a little behind him and too high. If that ball had been out front, I think Butch would have come up with that reception. Now, an interesting thing on this field, and there's a big crown on this field. So whenever you throw the ball to the sideline, it's going to be higher because quarterbacks aren't accustomed to this crown. It's not like just playing on a regular flat field. That ball will be higher when you throw it down to the sideline, out the side.
Well, Chris Norman back in his end zone to punt. Don Wilson standing at the 50 right in the middle of that crown. The rush was on. They got it away. A beautiful punt way back to the 27. Wilson up to about the 38. But Martin Bayless nearly got that punt. A 60-yard punt under great pressure from Martin Bayless right here as Norman gets it away barely. Well, the Raiders are coming to NBC Sports. Eric Coryell is ready and waiting in San Diego. Back at Rich Stadium, they seat 80, far from a sellout today, but what the heck, the team's 0-7, and they didn't sell out here for Michael Jackson either. First down for Buffalo from their 39. Speedy Neal and Greg Bell, the running backs. Ferguson wants to throw again. Ferguson going long for everything. Byron Franklin and Mike Harden covering Franklin step for step on the far side. So now Ferguson 0 for 5 passing today. He came in the 3rd leading passer in the conference.
But I tell you, they're not far off. Mike Harden did a good job because Byron Franklin can fly. As you see, he's got a step or two on him, but the football is thrown a little too much to the inside. Good job of coverage for Mike Harden. Byron Franklin has had a terrific season this first part of the season, coming in the 4th-ranked passer in the NFL with 36.
2nd and 10 for Buffalo. It's a one-back offense now. Speedy Neal the 1, Byron Franklin. Mark Bramer now the tight end comes over the near side. Ferguson is now 1 for 6. Completes it to Byron Franklin. A gain of 8, but short of a first down. So this will be a 3rd and 2, but first, let's check back with New York.
All right, Lenny, another score at County Stadium. Lynn Dickey once again to James Lofton, who had beaten double coverage on the play. It covers 20 yards. Lofton, who had only 1 touchdown the first 6 weeks of the season, has 2 today after a big night Monday night against Denver. It's 14-7.
All right, so Lofton doing it again. He gave Denver fits in the snow, despite the fact that Green Bay lost last Monday night. Lofton doing it again today. And again, the 5 wide receiver formation. Gee, this is something. 5 receivers in there now on a 3rd and shotgun. 3rd and 2. And he finds one of the 5, Byron Franklin, but he may be short of the first down.
I was going to say it's critical where the official marks this football. Good play by Harden. Good catch by Byron Franklin. This is going to be awfully close.
He caught the ball, but then ran to the short side of a first down. So at one point he was there, but now no sir.
Well, they're bringing the chains in. They're going to check it out. I think the idea is here is where was his forward motion? Where did the forward motion end? When Mike Harden hit him, he really pushed him back. Hey, well, I think that the Bills have decided they're going to go for it anyway. Whether they've got the first down or not, I think they've decided to go for it. They've sent in their other tight end. Now they picked it up.
They did pick it up. So you're right. The marking of the ball was critical. The Bills have a first down right about their 49. Dan Reeves, he didn't like the placement of the ball. Well, it's a Buffalo first down at their own 49. They're trailing 3-0. 3:45 remaining first quarter. Here comes Byron Franklin in motion to this side. And Greg Bell is stopped for no gain. So the Denver defense stopping Bell.
You know, Bell has had 2 games this season over 100 yards, and a lot of credit, of course, an awful lot of credit always has to go to the play of the offensive line. The Bills' offensive line, by today's standards, they're not a very big line. 240, 250, 260. When you think about, you know, the Raiders, you think about New England, you think about teams like that average 280, this group is small.
That's right. But they have some experience.
Lots of experience.
2nd and 10 from their 49.
Comes a blitz.
And Ferguson wisely dumps it over the middle to nobody. He saw it coming, and this will set up 3rd and 10. Elsewhere around the National Football League, Tony Franklin's kicked the field goal, tied 3-3 elsewhere. St. Louis continues to lead Washington 7-0 first quarter. That breach field goals holding up in Cincinnati, 3-0 over Cleveland first quarter. Minnesota, Tommy Kramer to Darren Nelson for 7 yards. Minnesota leads 7-0. And those Lofton touchdowns we told you about. Elsewhere, Philadelphia over the Giants, 7-0. So from the shotgun, 3rd and 10. And how many wide receivers? Let's count at least 3 this time. And he's got Bramer at tight end in the backfield lined up. So they've got all kinds of formations today. Here comes Bramer to the near side. Ferguson, he's going to make it. Got lots of room. Ferguson inside the 35. Ferguson takes a hit at the 32. Took a lick from Steve Wilson over there. An 18-yard pickup for Joe Ferguson, who saw lots of daylight on that 3rd and 10.
But there's a flag down. Let's watch the replay. He's going to escape right up the middle. Picks up the first down. But as you mentioned, he takes quite a shot here from Steve Wilson. Watch this. He tries to get inside. Can't quite get down because he slips on the turf. That's some shot he took.
Look at
Number
this.
72 on the offense. Still 3rd down.
Ken Jones, left tackle.
Just incredible. If you're a Buffalo Bill fan, and there are some watching in our area today, Gene, this has been the story of their season. The inopportune penalties have absolutely killed them. You know, this is the first penalty of the first quarter, and what a major, major penalty as Ferguson had rushed it down inside the 35, and now he's backed up to his own 39 and call it 3rd and 19.
You know, Kay Stevenson said when the season started, 2 things they wanted to accomplish this year. Reduce injuries. They hired a weight coach, off-season weight program, and reduce penalties. The 2 things, they led the league in both those categories last year. Either one will kill you for the year.
In the story of the Bills year, over the middle, intercepted on the tip by Steve Busick. And Busick hurdles down to the 35. So what a turnaround. There was Buffalo marching, the penalty, the tip interception, Denver back in business with the ball, and a 3-0 lead. Their 2nd interception of the day, Gene.
Let's watch the secondary coverage. Zone defense. The linebackers are going to form one area in the middle of your screen, the defensive backs on the right side. This is a zone coverage. Tip ball by Bramer. There it is. All the linebacker has to do is wait for it. That Steve Busick comes right to him. Again, 2nd interception of the day. The Broncos taking advantage of mistakes on the offense.
The penalty kills Buffalo, and Denver turns in its league-leading 19th interception of the year. We'll be right back, everybody.
Let's watch the interception again. Watch Ferguson throw the ball to Bramer. It's going to be tipped. There it is, a left hand. Ball's behind him and high. Sitting right there to be plucked off by the inside linebacker, Steve Busick.
There's Bramer, the tight end. First down from the 35. Pitch out. Fumble. It looks like Winder fell on it himself. So that'll be a loss of 7 yards on that one as Winder can't hang on to the pitch out. He never did control it, Gene. Went right through his hands.
Not at all.
He's lucky to get it himself there.
Well, that's one way to stop the potent running attack for the Broncos, right? Don't let him get started.
That's the second strange Elway toss of the day. Remember that other one where he just lost it when no one was there? Elway statistics not impressive yet. This is 2nd and 17 from the 43. Lots of time again for Elway. Throwing, completing to Butch Johnson at the first down marker. So he needed 18. He may have gotten 18. Lots of protection for Elway on that one.
I think Butch picked up the first down, but again, let's watch the secondary coverage. Left side of your screen. The Bills are going to go into a zone coverage. Watch in the middle part where you have the linebackers forming that sort of flat area. Butch Johnson is going to come underneath of them. There he gets a reception. But I don't think the Bills can make it this way. I think they have to put pressure on the quarterback. They can't sit back and play that type of coverage, particularly against a quarterback whose arm is as strong as Elway's is.
They have to put some pressure on the wide receivers, too. They really backed off there. First down from the 25 for Denver. Winder forges ahead for 3, maybe 4 before he's gang tackled back. In the middle there, Steve Freeman as well as Eugene Marv for the Bill defense.
The Broncos down on about the 20-yard line or so, and here's where the field begins to shrink in terms of a quarterback and receivers. If you're going to throw the ball at all, this is where you'd like to throw it, because when you get down about that 10-yard line, as a receiver, you don't have an awful lot of room to maneuver. So if the Broncos are thinking about throwing this football to get 6, they're probably going to do it in this area.
This is a 2nd and 5 from the 20, Gene. Elway rifles it complete to an open Butch Johnson, and Butch gets down near the 5. So Johnson putting on a show. Brian Carpenter finally brought him down.
Not only Johnson, but I can tell you as a receiver, let's watch Butch Johnson, number 86. Zone coverage, he's going to come from right to left, and he's going to sit down right there. Elway drills this ball in between the coverage. Big reception, close to scoring for the Broncos.
So we've reached the end of the first quarter of play in Buffalo on the strength of 2 interceptions and a carless field goal. It's 3-0 Denver, but they want more. We'll be right back. Back in Buffalo, there's Dan Reeves, the Denver coach. Knew Butch Johnson from his Dallas days. Gave him another life here, and Butch performing. Kay Stevenson staring at a 3-0 deficit, which could be close to 10 as Denver. 1st and goal from the 6. Winder gets about half of the 6.
When in doubt, go to your strength. Of course, I don't think there was much doubt about this. The Broncos have a very good running attack, as we mentioned before, led by Sammy Winder and a good offensive line. And when you get down in this area inside the 5, really inside the 10, I mentioned before, the field shrinks so much on you that it's very difficult to throw the football down here. Defensive backs, of course, aren't afraid of anything deep. They can play much tighter. So I would anticipate that the Broncos are going to keep the ball on the ground with the possibility of a rollout from Elway, because he can run. He's nifty.
Now he's got Rick Parris in the backfield along with Sammy Winder. Here's Winder. Fake, wide open. Clarence Kay as Elway throws the defense. The rookie from Georgia making the reception. His 2nd professional touchdown. The Broncos lead at 9-0.
What made this happen was a good fake into the line of scrimmage to Winder, and as I said before, with a quarterback who's nifty like John Elway, then the rollout is a good possibility. Here's a fake, good fake. You can see the linebacker going for it. Elway just rolling out. Kay is wide open. The thing that makes this happen is that if you're a good running team, the linebackers must respect that. And you also need a quarterback who's nifty enough to be able to get outside and run the football out there. And he has that option. If no one's open, he can run it after 6.
Beautiful play. Rich Carlos has missed just 1 point after touchdown this season. Gets that one, and the Broncos have opened up a 10-0 lead now in the opening 40 seconds of the 2nd quarter. So Joe Ferguson and company will be on the spot. They'll be coming back here as 2nd quarter is just underway.
Today's game is brought to you by Today Chevrolet. See Today Chevy, drive Today Chevy, live Today Chevy. By AT&T, the more you hear, the better we sound. And by ANCO, the best wiper blade you can buy. Tests prove it.
back at Rich Stadium in Buffalo. Rich Carlos as the wind blew the ball off the tee. Denver looking to win its 6th straight. They come into today's action tied for first place with the Raiders. Raiders play later today in San Diego. And Denver leading at 10-0. Van Williams, Donald Wilson are back for Buffalo. And here's Wilson from the 4. Good Denver coverage, and Wilson gets out barely to the 15. Scoring drive for the Broncos. 6 plays, total of 35 yards after the interception. Time elapsed 3 minutes, and of course the pass from Elway to Kay. But the story for Buffalo here, that one penalty that nullified the Ferguson run, would have been a first down deep in Denver territory. Instead, pushed way back. The tip interception by Busick. Denver in business, and Kay Stevenson looking at a 10-0 deficit. Clint Sampson watching the action, wide receiver from the far side. All right, first down for Buffalo from their own 15. They have to get some offense going. Greg Bell, about 4 yards.
Yeah, the Broncos, in this part of the field, a lot of people will play conservative defense. They want to make the offense try to earn it. But let's watch number 79. Now, you saw the blitz 57. That's Tom Jackson, who shoots in on the blitz. Also, Barney Chavis out there, the defensive end. And the reason I talk about Chavis is the fact that, in my opinion, I don't think he really gets his due in terms of how good he is in the league. When you talk to players, they say he is one of the best. But he doesn't seem to generate the publicity. One of the best players in football for a long time, and really deserves more credit than he gets.
One of the veterans of that Super Bowl lost to Dallas. 2nd and 5 from the 25. Another tip. No interception. Mike Harden was there once again. So this will set up a 3rd and 5 for Ferguson. A lot of action around the NFL today. Miami now has opened up a lead over New England. Pete Johnson run. Miami leading New England 10-3. Elsewhere, Washington and St. Louis are tied. Cleveland and Cincinnati are tied 3 apiece. Minnesota on a Ted Brown run, now 14-0 over Detroit. Pittsburgh leading Indianapolis. And Green Bay now leading Seattle 17-7. Ferguson just 2 of 10 throwing, now in the shotgun with all those receivers in there again. He's got 5 of them. 3rd and 5 from the 20.
Last time Denver blitzed from this formation.
Throws it out, too low. Bramer couldn't get it, and the Buffalo offense has stalled, and they'll have to punt again, already trailing it 10-0.
I think they may have to can that formation because Ferguson just simply doesn't have enough time to throw the football. Rulon Jones, number 75, is the man who comes in, puts the pressure on this time. Boy, they're all over it.
Boy, did Jim Richer have his hands filled there with Rulon Jones. So John Kidd will try to punt it. He's standing at a 6. Zach Thomas is at his 40 for the Broncos. This is a good kick. Thomas grabs it right at the 40. And Zach is stopped at the 49. And a flag comes in late in the play.
Flag down.
Tackle made by Rob Riddick, reserve fullback for the Bills. And now we'll have a discussion. Red Cashin, our official today, the insurance salesman. And we'll get a use of hands call against Denver.
Well, had it not been for that penalty, Denver would have been in very good field position. Let's listen to the
Illegal
call.
block. Number 33 of the receivers during the run back. First down at 10.
So it's called against Gene Lang on the receiving team. So the first penalty called against Denver in this game. And see if we can pick it up here, Gene.
On the left side of your screen, number 33 just went out of the picture. Let's see if he comes back and commits an error again. Yeah, he did it again.
All right, so on the strength of the penalty, Denver will be setting up from their own 39. They've got a 10-0 lead. We'll be right back to Buffalo, everybody.
I like.
Look at Lucius Sanford rubbing his sprained left knee. He may come back, but in the meantime, Stan David has taken over his linebacking core. First down from the 39. Elway, screen to Winder. Winder, close to a first down, up around the 48. Darryl Talley made the tackle. So they'll have a second down coming up, but first, let's go to New York.
All right, Lynn, just into the second quarter in Foxborough, the Dolphins have jumped out in front of the Patriots. Here's the play that set up the touchdown. Dan Marino scrambles on 3rd and 1, finds Dan Johnson at the goal line. Pete Johnson took it in from there, 10-3. Dolphins out in front.
All right, thank you, Bill. Big Pete Johnson doing the number there. So here it's 2nd and 1 from the 48. And Elway will throw on the short yardage situation. Rolling out to the left. Lots of time. Deep for Watson. Oh, what a grab. Touchdown, Broncos. 52 yards.
That was some throw and some catch. You know, people can say all they want about how John Elway has not been effective. Let me point something out to you. Watch this throw. On the run, just sets up. Look at this. Beautiful throw. And look at this catch from Steve Watson. Oh, that's a thing of beauty. 6 points. Can't be any prettier than that.
Steve Watson's 2nd touchdown of the year. Gets the congratulations from his teammates. He had that dream year of 81 and made a dream catch right there. Carlos will try to make it 17-0 Denver. And that's the story. 17-0 Broncos. This is a position Buffalo is familiar with. They trailed 17-0 in Seattle last week. Came back, took the lead before losing in the 4th quarter. But Buffalo is faced with another big comeback situation, trailing it 17-0 here. Back in Buffalo, 12 and a half minutes remaining in the 2nd quarter, and Denver has opened up a 17-0 lead on the strength of John Elway's 52-yard bomb to Steve Watson. That was a thing of beauty. Man, Williams at the goal line. Williams breaks it out to the 29. Well, coming up later today here on NBC, the 2nd half of our NFL doubleheader. Bronco fans will be watching closely when the Raiders play San Diego. Broncos and Raiders coming in tied at 6-1. Some of you will see Kansas City and the Jets. Bill Kenny back in action from his broken thumb. Jets are a strong team, another of the surprise teams this year. So that's the 2nd half of our NFL doubleheader. Stay with us. First down from the 29 for the Bills. A big hill to climb up right now. Preston Denard goes out to the far side. Byron Franklin, the wide receiver, to the near side.
When Denver gets you in this situation, usually they don't let up. They keep putting the pressure on.
Ferguson goes to a well-covered tight end. Buster Barnett picked up perhaps a yard. And a bit of a derisive cheer goes up because the Bills complete a pass.
You know, the fans here are clapping because they finally got a completion, even though it was for only a few yards. You can see Joe looking intently to the sideline, getting his plays. He has been a little off. He's been a little high. But when he's on, there's none better than Joe Ferguson. Maybe he can get things turned around a bit.
Signals to Ferguson. Come in from the backup quarterback, Matt Kofler. This is a 2nd and 7. Ball on their own 32. Lots of time. Ferguson completing to Byron Franklin, and Franklin to the 45. And here's something for the crowd in Buffalo to finally cheer about.
Byron Franklin, as I mentioned before, coming into this game was the 4th leading receiver in the NFL. Gets down, gets to the inside. Ferguson throws the ball just where it needs to be, in between those different zones of the defensive backs to the left, the linebackers to the right. Byron Franklin has had a good year. Let's take another look from the end zone. Now, this is a nicely thrown ball. Now, if Joe can get hot, he can really present some problems for you.
23-yard pass play. First down from the Denver 44. And Franklin goes in motion. Hand off to Greg Bell. Fights his way for 2 or 3 before he's stopped by the Broncos. Ferguson throwing today just 4 of 13. So that last one was a big one for Joe. For Byron Franklin, 37 receptions on the year, and that's more than any Buffalo Bill receiver had all of last year.
You talk about the injuries this team has had. I don't think they've been injured any place more than in the receiving corps. Yeah, they had their number 2 draft choice, Eric Richardson, he couldn't play at all this season. Jerry Butler, the big receiver, out for the year. They've really been hit at that spot.
2nd and 7 at the 41 for Buffalo.
Here comes a blitz.
And that one's nearly picked off. First tipped by Louis Wright, then Foley went after it. The ball was intended again for Franklin, and this will set up 3rd down and 7 now.
But just take a look at the pressure. Look, everyone's coming. Linebackers, defensive backs from the outside, putting pressure. Dennis Smith, everyone putting pressure all over Joe. He simply has to get rid of the football and hope they can come up with it. But they didn't. What happened was the Broncos nearly came up with an interception.
And now Buffalo coming with 5 receivers once again. 3 to the near side, 2 to the far side. 3rd and 7 at the Denver 41.
Spread them out.
Throw it up there. Someone's going to be there. The shotgun, Ferguson. The pressure. And he is nailed. Carl Mecklenburg coming in there, and Ferguson is sacked.
They call him the A.J. Dewey in orange. A.J. Dewey, of course, in Miami, who plays both linebacker and defense. Let's check the reaction out here. Ho, give me a high five. Hit it on the helmet. Rulon Jones and Mecklenburg. They're a happy group.
Mecklenburg had the big fumble recovery that sealed the win Monday night. Now he gets the sack here today. So John Kidd back at his 30 to punt it away again. Good high kick from Kidd. Zach Thomas just has to watch it go into the end zone. And that's where it will stop. So Denver leading at 17-0 on the strength of a 56-yard punt from John Kidd. The Broncos will start on their own 20 when we return. A full 9 minutes and change remaining, 2nd quarter. Back at Rich Stadium in Buffalo, Len Berman along with Gene Washington. Gene trailing 17-0. This is a critical defensive series for the Bills.
Well, but let's talk about how Denver got into the shape they're in. Again, defense. 2 interceptions, 2 big interceptions. You entertain on offense, and you win on defense.
Well, they're doing it again. Starting at their 20.
If somebody gets run over, you're not going to make it.
Elway maybe checking things off as John Sawyer goes in motion. Winder heads straight ahead for 2 or 3. Denver would love nothing more than a long, controlled drive on the ground. Action going on elsewhere now around the league. Miami leading New England 10-3. St. Louis has taken the lead over the Redskins 10-7 in the 2nd quarter. Battle of field goals at Riverfront. Cincinnati leading Cleveland 6-3. Minnesota opening up a 14-0 lead over Detroit. Pittsburgh 10-0 at the Hoosier Dome in Indianapolis. Green Bay by 7 now over Seattle. And Philadelphia continues to lead the Giants. So this is 2nd and 7 for Denver from their 23. Elway, all the time in the world, goes back to Clarence Kay, and Kay runs for a 1st down across the 30. So that rollout kind of offense, which they instilled this year, Gene, really has helped Elway a lot. It worked on the 52-yarder. It helped here to find Clarence Kay.
What it does is that it buys you, the quarterback, an awful lot of time to throw the ball. But again, I hate to keep being redundant, but you can only do that and make the type of throw that Elway made if you have a superbly strong arm, like Terry Bradshaw had when he was playing with the Steelers. Only a strong arm quarterback can throw the kinds of throws that he's making.
1st down for Denver from their 31. Elway completes another one to Steve Watson, and close to a 1st down once again with Brian Carpenter covering on the near side.
Steve Watson, 52-yard touchdown today. He had a 42-yard touchdown prior to coming into this game. Let's watch him on an isolation. Number 81 going to the outside, and again, look at that bullet throw. Nicely thrown football. And as a receiver, when you're running an out pattern, the last thing you want is a ball that floats out there, because now you have to think about interception. But with John Elway, that's not a problem. You know that ball's going to come out there like on a clothesline.
As they measure, Elway having a terrific 1st half as the stats pile up now. He's 11 for 17, 134 yards, 2 touchdowns, and another Denver 1st down at their 41. They thought the offense was too complicated for John Elway a year ago in his rookie year. Dan Reeves comes in this year, simplifies things, a lot of that rollout stuff, and now Elway having a good first half here in Buffalo.
Well, I can't recall any quarterback really coming in his first year, starting and playing well. Never mind the system. Just getting accustomed to the whole thing, right? I mean, he's had it.
Well, what about Dan Marino?
Well, we'll talk about that.
All right, first down, 41. There was motion. I don't see. Now the flag comes down. Ken Johnson making the stop.
Flag down the
So
field.
we'll see what the flag is. 7 minutes, 23 seconds remaining first half. And Denver leading Buffalo 17-0. Here's Red Cashman. And an offside will go against Buffalo.
Oh, there you can see, right in the middle.
Offside. Number 76 on a defense. Still first down.
Fred Smerlas, the man who's trying to get a little jump. Now, let's get back to Marino, since you brought that subject up. Now, you talk to any player, well, I'll say most of the players in the NFL, defensive backs, you ask them which quarterback would you rather have, which do you think they'd say?
Well, that's tough.
I'll tell you what they say. Elway.
Well, I know.
Now, you also have to look at, well, we can get into a big discussion here, but let's get back to this ball game.
All right, 1st and 5, and this one's incomplete, intended for John Sawyer, the H-back. Darryl Talley, the outside linebacker, covering. So this will set up 2nd and 5 now. Denver operating from their 47. Boy, coming off Marino's stats and the year he's having again this year, that's a very tough call. But I respect your opinion as a former player.
Oh, that's not my opinion. That's the opinion of players who are playing today. And the reason being is that players they evaluate players on their abilities. You also have to look at the system that a player is playing in and what they're doing.
2nd and 5. Elway. No. Perhaps tipped. Ryan Carpenter covering on the far side against Butch Johnson. So Elway has stopped on that throw, and this will set up a 3rd down and 5.
Well, Elway was stopped on that throw, but it certainly wasn't the fault of his offensive lineman. Boy, they have done some job of giving him pass protection. Let's take a look. Starting in the middle, number 64, Billy Bryant, the veteran center. Out on the left side, Dave Stutter. Keith Bishop in the middle, Paul Howard. They have done a terrific job of protecting this quarterback, and they enjoy blocking for Elway. They really enjoy having a quarterback who has the ability to move around.
And has the ability to move them into the playoffs, as did a year ago, even though they lost in that wild card game. And a timeout is called by Denver. So Denver spends a timeout. When we come back, it'll be 3rd and 5 from the 47. Dan Reeves and company leading it 17-0. Back in Buffalo, a full 7 minutes and 15 seconds remaining as the rain is falling lightly here at Rich Stadium. Denver leading Buffalo 17-0. This is 3rd and 5 at the Bronco 47. Elway with the rollout again. Firing. Completing once again to Butch Johnson at the 40. Lawrence Johnson covering for the Bills. So Butch having a good afternoon, Gene.
Frustrating for those defensive backs when they look up and they see something coming that's supposed to be a football and looks like a BB. All the receiver has to do is put out his hands. That's fun.
All right, the Giants have tied the Eagles. Rob Carpenter, a 1-yard run for the Giants. That came in the 2nd quarter. Look at what Chicago's doing to Tampa Bay. Bears hope to go 5 and 3. So another first down. Denver relentless now at the Buffalo 39.
The Bills moving around on defense, trying to confuse the Broncos.
Elway, a lot of time. Wide open, Watson. Nearly intercepted. And he dropped the near interception. Steve Freeman did. My goodness, when it rains, it pours on the Bills. There was an interception in his hands, and Steve Freeman dropped that one.
Lenny, both you and I saw Watson wide open. Then, number 22, there he is, Steve Freeman, coming up on what he thought was going to be an interception and drops the ball in the end zone. The bad luck Bills. Number 88, tight end Clarence Cade. He's right in the middle. Hey, got his hand and says, look, I'm wide open.
Here I am, John.
But in the end zone, Steve Watson appeared to be open too.
So now all of that has resulted in a simple incompletion. 2nd and 10 now for Denver at the Buffalo 39. Butch Johnson fighting, and it's ruled incomplete. Johnson and Carpenter fighting for that. That's quite a battle going on there. Brian Carpenter, third year out of Michigan, going up against Butch Johnson, and another incompletion. Take a look.
Secondary coverage. Brian Carpenter, the middle part of your screen at the bottom, playing against Butch Johnson. Butch looks like he's open, but look at the recovery there. And they like Brian Carpenter. He's playing for an injured Bellinger, who's a number 3 draft choice, I believe, here at the Bills, and has done a really good job. They like the way he plays man-to-man coverage. And there's a premium on defensive backs now who can play man-to-man.
Well, I'll tell you, in 8 games, Carpenter's their 5th left cornerback. That's been a sore spot for them. Third and 10 now for Elway at the 39.
Here comes a blitz.
And the good pass coverage again as Watson was looking on the near side. Charlie Rome's covering him over here, and they set up a punt.
Charlie Rome's the best defensive back, and he's against number 81, Steve Watson. Does a good job. Season football comes right in, almost comes up with an interception. Ball hits him right in the hands, nearly came up with it. He was a man who fell down last week against Seattle, resulting in that touchdown to Steve Largent. But I'll tell you, he has been a consistently good defensive back here in Buffalo for a long time.
Well, with 6 minutes and 8 seconds remaining till halftime, this will be an important possession coming up, assuming Denver doesn't fake it here. Well, let's see. They've got Kubiak, the backup quarterback, on 4th and 10, so Buffalo calls timeout. Buffalo was expecting a punt. Donald Wilson was back at his goal line. Instead, the backup quarterback Kubiak came in the lineup, and now we see Chris Norman. So maybe the play was simply get Buffalo confused, get him to call a timeout, and now Chris Norman comes on to punt. Interesting.
Well, we've seen a few interesting things in this football game. 5 receivers, 3 on one side,
right,
lined up in a stack offense.
We saw a few interesting things at Madison Square Garden the other night. Marvin Hagler and Mustafa Hamsho. It was short, but it was interesting as Marvelous Marvin put his title on the line against Hamsho. You will see that on Sports World next Saturday at 4:30 Eastern Time, 3:30 in Los Angeles. 2 of the best middleweights in the world, Hamsho and Hagler, coming to NBC Sports World. And now Norman's into punt.
And don't forget at halftime, NFL 84 with all the highlights. First games around the league. Be sure to watch that.
A lot of action around the NFL. You'll see it at halftime. Norman looking for the corner. Does he get it? Yes. Let's see where they mark it. They mark it at a, well, he just keeps coming up the sideline. About the 12-yard line. So with 6 minutes remaining in the first half, Buffalo trailing 17-0 will take over after a 27-yard punt from Chris Norman as Case Stevenson has to see some points on the board before halftime.
Well, there's the man who's going to be responsible, Joe Ferguson. Started off really kind of shaky. He was throwing the ball high. Last series, got the ball down. Byron Franklin, a big reception. Let's see if they can get the ball back out to him again.
Starting from the 12 in the I formation. Second man is Bell. And Gregg gets a couple of yards.
Foul carry.
Brulon Jones making the stop.
Greg Bell, you know, a lot of people gave the Bills heat for drafting Greg Bell in the first round because he'd had so many injuries in college at Notre Dame. But all of those second guessers have quieted up now because coming into this game, Greg Bell has 411 yards, 2 games over 100 yards, at 144 against the Colts. Big day against them.
But today, just 20 yards on 6 carries. 2nd and 8 now from the 19. A flag is down as Bell fights up near the 19. All right, so coming up at halftime, we'll hear from Bob and Pete and Bill and Ahmad and the crew. We'll see what Axe has to say. Pete picked Buffalo in this one, so he's got to see them make a comeback here. But let's see what the flag is.
Illegal motion. Number 84 on the offense. Penalty is declined. It's 3rd down.
Buster Barnett, you see him on the left side of the line, the tight end.
Got a rolling start, Buster.
No one said it would be easy, Buster. His first catch in the NFL was a touchdown a couple of years ago. He said this must be easy. He's never caught one since. So this will be 3rd and 3 as the penalty declined from the 19.
Well, the Bills have a lot of speed at their wide receiver positions, especially Mitchell Brookins, number 81.
From the shotgun, they need a first down badly. They get it. Franklin. And he got it barely. Dennis Smith, the strong safety, providing the coverage. First down, Buffalo.
Well, Byron Franklin, as we watched the wide side of the field from the end zone, he knew where he had to go to get the first down. There he is in the middle, has a man all over him, Dennis Smith holding on, but yet he struggles, tries to get up there and gets the first down. That's really heady football for a receiver to know where that marker is, know where you have to go to get the first down.
Franklin, 3rd year out of Auburn. First down now for Buffalo. They're at their 28, their deepest penetration all day, the Denver 41. Bell's open over here. He's got some blocking. Bell comes to the near side. Bell across the 30, maybe up to the 33 before he tumbles out of bounds. An 11-yard pickup and another Buffalo first down.
That's a nicely executed screen pass. Ferguson just trying to draw the defensive group in, gets it out here. Bell has some blockers out in front, picks up a nice gain, and the crowd roars because they feel that they should have gotten a penalty here. Watch, he's out of bounds. There comes the shot, and it's a little late, but the officials didn't throw the flag.
4 minutes, 24 seconds left first half. We're at Rich Stadium in Buffalo. The Broncos leading it 17-0 over winless Buffalo. First down from the 34. Completing to an open Preston Denard, his first reception, trying to fight to get out of bounds to stop the clock and doesn't do it. Clock continues to run with 4 minutes and 10 seconds remaining till halftime.
Well, Denver's philosophy here on pass defense, when they don't rush the quarterback and put pressure on him, is to drop back and try to force you to throw the ball underneath that zone coverage of the linebackers. They'll let you catch that short ball 2 to 3 yards. That's what they did that time. They'll give you that, then they'll come and converge on you. They're going to try to make you earn it if you're going to get down the field. There's a defensive coordinator, Joe Collier. You see him sending in the signals from the sideline. Probably not a defensive coordinator in the league any better.
So as the clock continues to run, Buffalo taking an awful lot of time here. 3 minutes, 34 and counting. 2nd and 6 at their 38.
Too long.
30-second clock runs out. Delay of game. And the crowd becomes a little restive as 5 yards will be walked off against the Bills.
Delay of the game by the offense. Still 2nd down.
You pointed out before, at the inopportune times, you know, they seem to get something going, the Bills do, then it just gets disrupted with a penalty.
Biggest play for me in the first half was the holding penalty called against Ken Jones after Ferguson rushed deep into Denver territory for a first down. Right after that, Steve Busick intercepts, and boom, they're up 10-0. Then Elway finds Watson, and it's 17. So this is 2nd and 11. And they're backed up to their 33.
Here comes the pressure. Here's a blitz.
And a completion to Greg Bell. He wants to go out of bounds, and he fights his way out at the 44. The Buffalo is picking up some ground. Clock is stopped with 3 minutes and 14 seconds remaining. Aaron Smith making the tackle for Denver after a gain of 11. Elsewhere around the league, look at this. New England giving Miami a battle. 10-10. Tony Eason passed to Clarence Weathers, 14 yards to tie that one up. Green Bay and Seattle, tough one there. 17-13 Green Bay. And Paul McFadden, a 45-yard field goal for the Eagles. They lead the Giants at the vet, 10-7. But here, 3rd down, less than 1. 3 tight ends in the lineup for Buffalo. Speedy Neal gets the first down up to the 48. So Buffalo is moving as it's packing in close here, Gene.
Well, get down in the trenches. Look at that. Looks like a rugby scrum,
right?
Doesn't it?
Yeah.
And then Speedy Neal, he just sort of walks for this first down. Nobody out there. Bills pick it up 2 minutes, 50 seconds to go. Still plenty of time to get on the scoreboard here. And what psychologically they really need to get some points.
Well, statistics don't mean a whole lot when you're down 17-0. First down from your own 48.
Here comes a blitz.
Goodbye. Jim Ryan, linebacker, got him. Second sack of the year for Ryan, and again it comes at a big moment.
I mean, they brought everybody. Let's watch from the end zone. Number 50, Jim Ryan is a man there. There it is, but you can see the defensive back. Dennis Smith is in there. You know, when the Broncos went to the Super Bowl, that was the days when you could put pressure on receivers. You could bump them all over the field. They outlawed that. Now what they're doing, the Orange Crush is, I don't know if they still call them the Orange Crush out there, I would, but now they're putting the pressure on the quarterback. They have adjusted well to the rule changes. Some defenses haven't, but they have in Denver.
Second and 20. Let's see if they send everybody again on this play. Backed up to their 39, Buffalo is. Ferguson hits Bell up near the 49, but that's near where the original first down marker was, so this will be third and about 10 as we've reached the 2-minute warning in Buffalo.
There are about 3 Denver players who collided. They all sort of met with Greg Bell. A little slow getting up. There's Steve Busich, who's going off holding his arm. Let's watch in the replay. They're all going to converge right there together. 1, 2, 3. Then a fourth comes in. And they're a little slow getting up.
And Steve Busich, number 58, limps off the field. There he is for the Broncos. So, with 2 minutes remaining in the first half, it's Buffalo ball. Denver's leading it 17-0. Back in Orchard Park, New York, the light rain has subsided. The sun has now broken through. 3rd and 9 for the Bills at the 49. 2 minutes to go. Needless to say, an important play right here for Buffalo's morale. 2 interceptions, the big numbers on Ferguson's statistics. And there it is, Mecklenburg again. His second sack of the day. Helped out by Rulon Jones. And it's all going Denver's way as they hope to make it 7-1 at the halfway mark of 84. And they're halfway home now with 1:55 remaining in the first half as Buffalo forced the punt. There's Mecklenburg. Another big sack for him.
You know, and the other thing that they're accomplishing by putting so much pressure on Joe is that when he drops back to pass, he's not looking downfield the entire way now. He's starting to look to see where the pressure is going to come from. And when he looks at that pressure, he loses sight of his receivers. Then he has to look back up again, and he can't find anybody.
Joe has to wonder what next. So Buffalo in a punting situation. A reminder while we have a moment, next Saturday, Pro Bowling continues here on NBC Sports. The debut yesterday with Jay Randolph and Earl Anthony, an exciting match. Continues next Saturday from Indianapolis, 3 o'clock Eastern, 2 o'clock in Los Angeles. The Fall Bowling Tour right here on NBC Sports. Steve Busich, who has helped off the field, a pinched nerve in his neck. He hopes to return. John Kidd doing well again today. Coming back from those 2 blocked punts in Seattle. Kidd, a 2-step punter. 1-2 and gone. Good high kick. Wilhite calls a fair catch at the 18, and that's where Denver will start with 1:39 remaining in the first half. A 46-yard punt. We have a full half of football remaining in this game, and then another full game remaining in the second half of our NBC doubleheader today. Some of you will see San Diego take on the Raiders. Raiders coming in tied with Denver for first place in the AFC West. San Diego.
Gary Kubiak coming into the game for the Broncos, a quarterback.
Kubiak had a start last year. Helped beat Seattle. Reminder, all the guys coming up at halftime with the scores and highlights. So Kubiak will finish out the first half. John Elway should be back in the second half. His arm just stiffened a bit. Why not? The long ones he was airing out in the first half. Kubiak finally throws it out of bounds. Ruled incomplete to Steve Watson. Minute 31 remaining first half. Brian Carpenter covering on the near side.
That rollout pass protection has worked very well for them. Look at the pressure, though, he gets from Ken Johnson. Ken says, you can't hang around on these sidelines while it's still live. I'm going to let you know I'm here.
Was a flag thrown? Perhaps. Kay Stevenson, you can hear him saying, what's going on? Was there a flag? I saw an official pick one up.
Illegal contact. Number 30 of the defense. First down.
Oh, against Brian Carpenter, the defensive back from the Bills. There's Elway on the sideline. You see him sort of moving his arm around there, a little tightness evidently in his shoulder area.
Well, he had that shoulder injury early in the year. Forced him to miss the Chicago game. So Kay Stevenson, I wonder what his halftime speech is going to be all about. This is 1st and 10 now from the 24.
Maybe with Kubiak in there, the Bills will try to put pressure on him. And they do. But he rolls out.
There goes
Marr outside of it.
Gets Bryant. And out of bounds. And he's hit on the far side. And we're going to have a late flag there.
Charles Rones, I think, taking out some of his frustration and probably evidence of the entire Bills teams in terms of their frustration. But Kubiak gets outside of the blitz, beats all of the linebackers. Now watch Charlie Romes come from the right side of your screen. Kubiak is out of bounds, relaxes,
unnecessary.
And watch this.
Number 26 on the defense. First down.
Again, Lynn, I think that's probably, Charlie Romes is not what you would call a dirty player, but I think this entire football team is frustrated, and I think he just takes out a part of his frustration here. Maybe he's not quite aware that Kubiak is out of bounds, but certainly Kubiak had started to relax knowing that he was already out of bounds.
So they tack on another 15 yards. Denver all the way out to the 49 after 2 penalties. And now Denver wants more points. They have 84 seconds to operate with. Why not? They're leading at 17-0.
Again, the Bills with the blitz.
Kubiak complete to Clarence Kay inside the 35, and Denver's marching again. Eugene Marham on the tackle. The clock running as we wind down to 70 seconds remaining. 18-yard gain, now a whistle. One of the Broncos, Ken Lanier, the right tackle, is down.
He seems to be in pain. But, you know, it appears as though the Broncos have found another receiver at number 88, Clarence Kay. He only had 5 receptions coming into this game. And he's had a couple of key ones this year. Let's watch and see if we can pick up the injury to number 76. Oh, there. Oh, you can see he rolls right up on his leg. One of the Bills, number 99, that's Ken Johnson, rolled right up on the leg of Ken.
You know, Gene, the Denver team this year has really been pretty much injury-free to key positions. In fact, if you look at the backup chart for the second-string offensive linemen, they list a rookie in 4 of the 5 spots and a second-year man backing up Paul Howard. So Lanier is backed up by Winford Hood, a rookie. They do not have a lot of depth in the offensive, or anywhere on the team for that matter, but particularly in the offensive line.
There's Hood, who's in the game, number 74.
Hood's another rookie out of Georgia. He and Clarence Kay. As Ken Lanier helped off the field. That would be quite a blow to the Bronco offensive line.
Well, Winford Hood will be going against another rookie opposite him, Sean McNanny, who's playing for the injured Ben Williams. So that's going to be some matchup. We'll watch that. There he is, McNanny, playing left defensive end.
Denver first down at the Buffalo 34. 1 minute and 11 seconds remaining in the first half. And Denver leading Buffalo 17-0. Jim Wright goes in motion. Gary Kubiak. And Kubiak's going to run it again. Kubiak slides down at the 28. Eugene Marv making the tackle on Kubiak.
Well, we just talked about the matchup of the rookies. Defensive end Sean McNanny and Winford Hood. They've been going at it. No huddle, the Broncos.
2nd and 5 from the 28. They operate quickly. Kubiak throws it out of bounds, which will set up the 3rd and 5 and give them a chance to regroup. 42 seconds remain now.
You know, oftentimes, Lynn, when this happens, when you have a starting offensive lineman who comes out of the game during the course of the game, oftentimes the person who calls the offensive plays might be aware of that for that moment, and they might try to do things to protect that player coming into the game. Then go in at halftime and say, okay, look, now this is what we're going to do. Get the player settled down to the fact that he's going to be playing there and so forth. But they might tend to be a little more conservative, maybe go the other side, run the ball to the other way.
3rd and 5. Denver forced to throw it out of bounds. They're out of timeouts. Buffalo has 2 remaining in the half. Kubiak going long for Butch Johnson and overthrowing Butch. Carpenter covering on the play. So this will be 4th down. Carpenter's been a busy defensive back today.
Well, you know, it's a natural thing to want to pick on a defensive back who's not played an awful lot, particularly when a player comes in and is playing for someone who's been injured, because the natural inclination is to think he's not as good as the other person. But the Bills are very happy with number 30 in terms of his ability to cover man-to-man. It's probably better than the person who was there before in terms of man-to-man coverage, not in terms of the total picture of everything.
Well, he's hit a 45-yarder. He's going to try another 45-yarder. This one, like the one before, Carlos perfect from 45. So the young man who has not hit one farther than 32 all season long hits 2 today from 45, and Denver extends its lead to 20-0 with 31 seconds remaining.
Field goal.
You know, after being in that snow last week, as you mentioned before, this must feel like he's on a holiday on an island somewhere. Let's watch the reaction. Oh, he's pretty cool about it. It's like, not that tough.
Carlos had only hit 5 of 8 field goals as you look at Gary Kubiak. Coming into today's game, he's 2 for 2 today to improve his average. And now, Denver will kick off leading 20. Talking about field goals today, you know, Steve Cox of Cleveland kicked a 60-yarder today, Gene. They have a battle of field goals going at Riverfront Stadium. Cincinnati and Cleveland are tied 6-6. How about that? 60-yarder for Steve Cox. A couple of yards short of Dempsey's record.
62 down in New Orleans, right? Phenomenal. Imagine someone to kick a field goal that far. That's amazing.
Word on Lanier, the tackle who was helped off, sprained ankle and knee. They got them both, and he's questionable for the second half. Carlos kicks off to Donald Wilson, takes it to 7. Wilson comes to the middle of the field. Wilson stopped at the 20. Buffalo will have 24 seconds left to try to do something about a 20-0 deficit. Wilson thought he could have gotten more than he did. Roger Jackson making the tackle for the Broncos.
The reason he didn't get any more than that is that he didn't fool the Broncos when those men come down covering that kickoff. If they stay in their lanes, and that's what they're taught to do, you're going to be in good shape. He went to the left and cut back across the middle, thought he could sort of sucker him in, but they didn't fall for it. They were right there waiting for him.
So Ferguson will operate out of the shotgun. Has a bunch of wide receivers in there again. Looking for a miracle with 24 seconds remaining in the half. And he'll just run it out. Oh, he's
fumbled. It's fumbled. That's a fumble. That's a fumble.
The officials rule Denver ball with 14 seconds left. they'll have a shot at another field goal at least.
The problem on that play is that Joe didn't realize that a Denver defender was as close to him. He thinks he's going to be able to sort of walk out of bounds here. He didn't realize that the Denver man was as close. The ball's fumbled. They come up with it. Again, big play defense.
Barney Chavis on the hit. Darren Como the recovery.
Was that Barney that ran him down?
Yes, sir.
Big defensive end. I like Barney.
Not bad for a 12-year veteran.
Again, the defense, they come up with the plays. Can you imagine how frustrated Case Stevenson is? Just as you mentioned before, inopportune penalties, turnovers, wrong situations. But you have to give credit to this Denver team.
They're at the 22-yard line. First down. 10 seconds remain now. Kubiak looking to the far side for Jim Wright, the tight end. Overthrows him, and 8 seconds remain. Carlos comes on to try another field goal. Stan David was covering on the far side, number 59. You see him?
Well, there it is. 8 seconds ago, Carlos made the last one look fairly easy. Getting it sighted up, and again, earlier when we were down on the field before the game started, there were all these wind, the gust of wind and so forth.
Right.
Really hasn't been much of a problem since the game started.
This one will be a 40-yard attempt. He's already made 2 from 45. Rich Carlos trying to give the 6-1 Broncos a 23-0 halftime lead. Carlos, 3 for 3.
When you're hot, you're hot.
So Dan Reeves, I don't think he could have expected a 6-1 start. I don't think he really expected a 23-0 halftime lead, despite the fact he was playing an 0-17.
As he pointed out earlier in the newspapers out in Denver, he said that he felt his team needed to come into this football game playing scared. He just doesn't feel that they have the overall talent and the overall depth to just walk in and on any Sunday beat any team.
Of course, this is the old cliche. Would they be looking ahead to next week's showdown with the Raiders? But obviously not, leading a 23-zip with 4 seconds remaining first half. The biggest play of all, John Elway, 52 yards to Steve Watson. 2 touchdown passes for Elway, 3 field goals for Carlos. That's the story. 23-0 Denver. Wow.
And let's not forget the interceptions by the defense. Big defense.
Short kick. And that'll do it for the first half. So the Denver Broncos are halfway home to a 7-1 record. The story here. Welcome back to Buffalo and the Len Berman and Gene Washington halftime highlight show. This was a big play in the first half, trailing 3-0. Ferguson runs for the first down, but a holding call against Ken Jones brings it back. The inopportune penalty. So on the next play out of the shotgun, Ferguson throwing, Mark Bramer tipping, interception by Steve Busick. Denver back in business. Take it, Gene.
Touchdown to Clarence Kay. They found a new receiver. Elway rolling out. There he is, wide open in the end zone. Number 88, 6 points. Now, this is a thing of beauty. This is a beautiful pass and a terrific catch by Steve Watson. Long ball, but watch, he dives. Full speed dives, comes up with a reception. That's magnificent.
That's the big number, 23-0. Elway's numbers, 12 of 23 for 148 yards, 2 touchdowns. We'll see if Elway plays in the second half. That shoulder stiffened up late first half, and Gary Kubiak replaced him. So under cloudy skies, the sun has gone back away as you look at Elway's fine first half stats. Denver will kick it away to Buffalo to start the second half.
You could see on the sideline, it appeared as though that was a team trainer, and he was pointing to John's shoulder, talking to Dan Reeves. So John has his jacket off, so it appears as though he is going to start here in the second half.
So Van Williams at the 10. Williams has daylight. Van Williams breaks it out near the 40. So Buffalo again, a late flag is thrown, so maybe they'll tack on 15 more. Yes, sir. Forearm will be called.
Now, this is an unusual call. It appears as though they're calling this against the Bills runner. The only man between he and the goal line was the kicker.
Rich Carlos. Yes, sir.
Oh, you're going to get a... Now watch this. Rich Carlos, number 3. He's the only man here, and he's going to give him a forearm. They're setting it up right here. Now here it comes.
Oh, man, Gene. That's awfully close. I mean, he did wind up, but
now, you know, usually they only call a forearm when you hit...
Unnecessary roughness, number 23 of the offense. First down and 10.
Now, I think Kay Stevenson has a right to be upset here because usually only call a forearm when the person goes at the head. He hit him on the shoulder and the chest with his forearm. That seems to be, you know, really calling it very close. I don't think it wasn't dangerous. He didn't go at the man's head, and I think it was that's a tough call.
First down for the 29, and Joe Ferguson is not starting the second half. It's Matt Kofler getting the start. He hands off to Greg Bell, and he runs for 5 yards. So Kofler getting the start, the third-year quarterback out of San Diego State. You know, when Ferguson went down with the injury earlier, he passed over Kofler, Kay Stevenson did, and started Joe Dufek. Well, now Kofler gets the second half start to see what he can do with a 23-0 deficit. That's a tough position for him.
I think the pressure that Denver put on Joe really just sort of upset his game. He was dropping back to pass, not looking at his receivers, just looking at the pressure.
Second and 3 from the 36. And Bell maybe picked up one of the 3 he needed. So this will set up 3rd and 2.
You know, oftentimes when you bring another quarterback into the game, particularly someone like Kofler, you know, he might be able to get a little something going. He might be able to do something a little unorthodox. He certainly has nothing to lose. There's no pressure on him at all as far as I can see. He can take a chance or two. This team, the Bills, they need a spark. They need something to light the fire to get going.
They also need 2 yards. 3rd and 2 from the 37. Joe Ferguson is not injured. He just made a change, and Greg Bell fights, and I don't believe he got them that first down. And Buffalo will have to punt again. So the second half starts off much like the first. A questionable penalty, a backup quarterback. There's Joe Ferguson. And they do not make the first down. 3 plays and punt. Buffalo in deep trouble here starting the second half with 2 minutes gone.
You know, we mentioned it in an earlier part of the game that the Broncos, in terms of total defense, are not very high. 22nd, 23rd. But in the situations where they need to be tough, they always seem to come up with a play on defense. Whether it's turnovers or short yardage or goal line, they do it.
High snap. John Kidd gets it away. Low kick. Zach Thomas takes it on a bounce at the 19 and rests in peace right there. Rob Riddick making another special teams tackle for Buffalo.
44-yard punt.
So we have a change of possession. The quarterback in the second half will be Gary Kubiak. So backup quarterbacks here in the second half. We'll be right back.
Today's game is brought to you by Renault. European technology and design that's affordable. Renault, the one to watch. By the U.S. Armed Forces. It's a great place to start. And by your Firestone retailers coast to coast. Come on, America. Drive over to Firestone.
Back at Rich Stadium, John Elway with the jacket on. His shoulders stiffened up. Late in the first half, Kubiak starts the second half. The Redskins have taken over the lead. Seattle has come from behind to take the lead over Green Bay. First down for Kubiak and company from their 20. Winder with the handoff. Winder gets a yard. You know, the 2 young, highly touted running backs each rushed for 20 yards in the first half, Winder and Bell.
But the key, though, for Denver is the fact that they're getting the job done. Normally they do it running the football. In the first half, they did it passing. 2 big touchdowns. Elway throwing just a beautiful one to Watson. Of course, Clarence Kay with that reception for the touchdown. Doesn't matter how you get them done as long as you score. And the Broncos are doing it.
23-0. 3 minutes gone second half. 2nd and 9 now for Kubiak from the 21. Overthrows right. with Darryl Talley covering on the near side.
But still, Len, I almost find it hard to believe that they're allowing the Bronco quarterback, regardless of who it is, that much time to throw the football. They're sitting back there. Look, they look over the entire field. They're getting 4 or 5 seconds to throw the football. Let's watch. Let's count. Normally you get 3 seconds. Here it's about 2.5 already. A little pulling there. We're at about 4 seconds already. About 5. You just can't allow that much time to throw the ball.
So 3rd and 9 from the 21. Bills in a nickel prevent defense here. Kubiak, there's the sack. Sean McNanny, the rookie, his first NFL sack.
Is he excited or what? Oh, he's been working awfully hard for that one. Let's watch from the end zone. Number 95, the rookie, from the right side of your screen. There he is. And he beats a rookie. That's Winford Hood. Number 74, who was trying to hold him out. Winford Hood playing for Ken Lanier, injured right tackle for the Broncos.
So now Denver will punt. The Bills have only 9 sacks all year long. One of the stories. Chris Norman back in his end zone. Good high punt. Wow, that was a boomer. Donald Wilson back at his 41. Wilson does a good job. Wilson across midfield or at midfield. Did a good job to pick up 9 yards on that return. So once again, Buffalo with some good field position.
You can't fault these Bills for lack of effort. Boy, they come out here in the second half. They're way behind, but yet they continue to hustle. They're giving it everything they have. We'll be back in just a minute.
So Buffalo again with a good position starting at midfield. Their quarterback is Matt Kofler. 11-11 remaining third quarter. We'll see if those numbers roll up lucky. Buffalo has yet to score. A lot of movement to get this formation set.
Reverse.
Byron Franklin, the end around. Jim Ryan was not fooled. A loss of 7. Wow. Everything working for Denver. Conversely, nothing working for Buffalo.
Yeah, when you're down, boy, you're down. When it's raining, it's pouring. There are the AFC standings. Denver and the Raiders tied in front, 6-1, 6. Seattle not far.
Right.
Boy, I tell you, this AFC West is something.
Best division in the NFL this year. Seattle coming from behind against Green Bay. They hope to go 6-2. That is some race. You could see both wild cards coming out of the AFC West, which is what happened last year with Denver and Seattle.
And a team as good as San Diego on the bottom.
Rulon Jones chasing Kofler, who runs out of there. Kofler spins up into Denver territory at the 48 before Jim Ryan tackles again. So they will have 3rd and 7 as Kofler got out of deep trouble as Jones was all over him in the backfield. A 9-yard gain for the backup quarterback.
Well, the Broncos defensive linemen have just been laying their ears back, just flying in there, putting all kinds of pressure on the quarterback. There's a group down there, 75, Rulon Jones, and 77. What about him? Carl Mecklenburg.
Right.
Get that right?
Right. 3rd down and 7 from the Denver 41. Remember, Buffalo's best position was at the 41 of Denver all day long. And there's another tip and another near interception. So Buffalo will punt again, but before they do, let's go to New York for an update.
Okay, Len, County Stadium in Milwaukee, third quarter action. David Craig looking for the rookie Darryl Turner out of Michigan State. Finds him, 25-yard touchdown pass. Craig's second TD connection of the day. 27-17 Seattle in the third. Lenny?
All right, Bob, so Seattle making the comeback in Green Bay. Seattle staying right in the thick of this AFC West race. And here's John Kidd getting ready to punt from his 39. He's punted well today. He's had to. Punts another high floater that's going to hit into the end zone. So Denver will again start at the 20 as the Kidd does it again. So when we come back, we'll have a full 9 minutes and 24 seconds remaining third quarter. Denver continues to lead Buffalo 23-0. Back in Buffalo. Some of the fans actually trying to start a wave here. Gary Kubiak, the quarterback. Fans try to come to life. Trailing 23-0 in Orchard Park, New York, making some noise. Kubiak to Winder. Winder fights close to a first down. Eugene Marv finally stopping him along with Donald Wilson.
You know, you can start to take gambles on defense by blitzing, even on rundowns, trying to get something to happen. The only problem is when you blitz on a rundown, and if the runner breaks through there, boy, he can go a long way. You see Sammy Winder come through there. There's no one within 4 or 5 yards when he crosses the line of scrimmage. But the Bills have to get something going. The fans are trying to do it. They're trying to start a wave here with about 30,000 people.
First down from the 30. It's a funny scene when a couple of fans stand up in an empty section. Winder, about 5 before he's clotheslined, and there's another flag against Buffalo. Stan David over there.
That should be a flag.
And it was, and Winder is still down, Gene.
The difference in that play and the one that was called earlier is that he clearly went for the player's head. I mean, he gave the forearm, and he went right for Sammy Winder's head. That clearly is a penalty. Let's watch. Let's see if we can see it here. Shot to the head. You see, that's clearly different than the other penalty that was called before.
Oh, they call a face
Number
mask.
69 in the defense. First down.
I think they'll call either one. You just don't wind up. You don't wind up, you know, swinging your arms from right field like that and expect not to have a penalty call, particularly when you hit the player in the head.
So the Denver deluge continues. They now have a first down in Buffalo territory. So the spectacular John Kidd punt did not help Buffalo much as Denver breaks it out thanks to a big penalty. Going on first down, short to Gerald Wilhite, spins away and gets down to the 45 for a gain of 4. Lots of scores around the National Football League today. Miami now leads New England by 6 in the third quarter. Washington now rolling it up in St. Louis, 21-10. Still the battle of field goals. The 60-yarder in that game by Cox, 6-6 in the third. Minnesota 14. Detroit's finally put some points on the board. Pittsburgh is shutting out the Colts 13-0 in the third. Seattle with that come from behind lead, 27-17. Giants and Eagles tied again in the third. And Chicago over Tampa Bay, the Walter Payton show in that one. 2nd and 6 from the 45. Kubiak for Wright. And everything's going right for Denver. On the stop, Steve Freeman covering, and Wright brings him down to the 25 and more.
Jim Wright says, Clarence K is not going to outdo me, even though he has a touchdown. Look at this reception from Kubiak. This is a beauty. Normally you'd expect it from a wide receiver, but for a big tight end, oh, that's pretty. Very nice, Jim.
Well, Wright's the 5-year man. Clarence K has taken over the spot, the rookie. And you're right, he says, I can do it too. Now first down at the Buffalo 25. 7 minutes and change remaining third quarter. Denver threatening a rout. Good coverage, and Kubiak has to keep it and gain a yard perhaps. Ken Johnson finally covering up.
That delayed rollout pass protection, pass pocket that Denver has used has worked so effective today. I don't think I can remember a football game where a team has used that particular kind of pass setup so effectively. The Bills have just not been able to put any pressure on Denver when they've gone to that delay rollout.
2nd and 9 for Denver from the 23. If you're joining us late, John Elway played a fine first half. His shoulder stiffened. That's why this man, Gary Kubiak, is in a quarterback for Denver.
Here comes a blitz.
And Kubiak nearly got it out to Wilhite. A good job by Kubiak to escape him. There were 3 white shirts coming after him. Number 1 on the charge was Sean McNanny.
Well, the Bills are doing really what the only thing they can do, and that's blitzing, trying to put pressure on the quarterback, trying to disrupt the flow of the offense. Here you can see Kubiak almost gets outside. He's running a little too fast to be able to throw this ball effectively. But if he were able to, Wilhite was wide open. He caught that ball. He could have gone in for 6 points.
3rd and 9 from the 23.
Again, the Bills have practically 9 men at the line of scrimmage.
Hand off to Will Height. Will Height looking to throw. Looking back for Kubiak. Will Height to Kubiak. And Kubiak takes it inside the 5. Don Wilson covering. And remember, you can only do that play out of a shotgun. You cannot pass back to a quarterback on a snap. 19-yard play.
Very wise. I didn't realize you couldn't do that, but since you said it, I'm sure you're exactly right. Look at this. Now this is really something. And this is not a bad throw from Will Height. He's throwing the ball, running to his right, sort of going backwards. Kubiak trying to put the moves. It's not bad for a quarterback. He's kind of nifty.
A couple of years ago, Miami on opening day against the Jets did it with David Woodley, where he caught a touchdown pass, but he caught it out of the shotgun. If a quarterback takes the snap, he is not allowed to be an eligible pass receiver. It's one of those arcane rules in the rule books, but you can see why. It protects the defense a little bit, but once he took it in the shotgun and gave it to Will Height, hey, Kubiak's a wide receiver. Denver pulling out all the stops. They want to show the Raiders something on those game films for next week. It's 23-0 Denver, looking for more. Where all the men in the chains are, down at the 3. 1st and goal from the Broncos. And I'll tell you, if they call the defense an orange crush, maybe the offense to be an orange wave or something. I mean, they are really pouring it on Buffalo this afternoon. Impressive. Kubiak.
Same play that went for a touchdown before.
Look at that. He's nearly nailed from the sack, gets out of the grasp. Kubiak on one play as a pass catcher, on another play runs for a touchdown. Gary Kubiak putting on a show. 29-0 Broncos now.
When John Elway was at quarterback and he threw a touchdown to Clarence Kay was on a play very similar to this. Kubiak almost goes down, maintains his balance, sees the opening and just waltzes right up the middle for 6 points. Let's watch again.
Darryl Talley.
Talley almost gets him, gets away, sees the opening up the middle, 6 points. But basically it was the same play they scored on earlier, the play action, but they threw the touchdown out to the tight end, Clarence Kay. Same kind of play, same result. This time they run it in.
Rich Carlos now with 3 extra points to go with his 3 field goals. 5:21 remaining in the 3rd quarter. Gary Kubiak gets his name into the scorebook. The Broncos lead Buffalo 30-0.
Well, let's watch Mr. Kubiak and a little razzle-dazzle again. Will Height throwing the ball to the quarterback. And then you know why quarterbacks have good hands? When they're practicing all those hours and hours of throwing the ball, they also have to catch it, right? Somebody throws it back to them. Most quarterbacks will have very soft hands. Put that into your little trivia bank.
That's good. 30-0 Denver. Donald Wilson drops it, covers it, and that's it. So Buffalo will start at the 20. But before they do, let's send you back to New York City for an update now.
Len, Dan Marino at it again, his 3rd of the day, 23rd of the year, breaking Bob Greasy's record set in 1977 of 22, the Miami team record. Mark Clayton struggling in, breaking a tackle in only 8 games. Marino has now thrown 23 TD passes. Len?
Wow, thank you, Bob. Of course, Miami looking to go 8-0. The flip side of Buffalo perhaps going 0-8. A reminder, their deepest penetration all day long, the Denver 41. Kofler still the Buffalo quarterback, out for Speedy Neal. He wheels away, and Speedy gets out for about a 7-yard gain before he's brought down by Rick Dennison, the former Bill, helping out along with Louis Wright.
Well, when you're down 30 points, and in the situation the Bills are in now, it's not so much the factor of trying to win this ball game. I think what they need to do, particularly on offense, is to try to get something going, to try to build a little confidence. What they need to do is just try to go down and score, regardless of how long it takes. That's what they need right now, is some confidence, not to think about the fact they're 30 down.
2nd and 3. The rush is on from Ryan. Kofler gets away. Kofler motioning. takes it himself for a first down out around the 36. And Tom Jackson and Kofler have a few words on the far side and smooth things over.
I think what Tom was doing, really, although it may not have appeared that way, he was trying to keep Kofler up. He realized he had him out of bounds. Let's watch it get on the replay. He knows he's going to be out of bounds, and he's going to throw him a little bit, but then he's trying to hold him up because Tom's smart enough to realize that if he goes down, now the flag may be thrown. So he's trying to hold him up now. He doesn't want him to fall.
You know who Buffalo plays next week? Miami, in Miami. 0-8 against 8-0. They beat him in Miami last year for the first time in ages. First time since 1966. Beat him in overtime. Ferguson had a great day. My goodness, 4:17 remaining here. First down at their 37, trying to get something generated. Kofler, good protection. Intercepted. Louis Wright. Third interception of the day. He was looking for Greg Bell. Louis Wright picks it off. It's all Broncos this afternoon in Orchard Park, New York.
You know, Louis Wright doesn't get an awful lot of balls thrown in his area. People don't like to go over there because he's so good. And Louis doesn't have the best hands, and he'll admit that in football, but he goes up and makes a beautiful interception here. When it rains, it pours.
Louis' first interception of the year. He led the club with 6 last year. Picks one up here. Look at this. Denver with their 3rd today. Number 1 in the NFL with interceptions. So what does the statistic mean? They're next to last in yards allowed, but number 1 in points allowed, least points allowed, and number 1 in interceptions. Tough defense. Kubiak throws out to Wright. And Wright struggles close to a first down. Lucius Sanford, Steve Freeman.
Mr. Kubiak is looking awfully good, but of course last year, I guess it was last year when he came in and played, he did a very good job when he was playing for an injured John Elway. And when John goes out, they know that Gary can do the job, and he's showing here in Buffalo that he's quite capable. Go to the sidelines to mark, check this to see if they picked up the first down. But what a frustrating situation for the entire Bills organization. They picked it up.
Came a first down. I saw a little daylight there. They're even getting the breaks on the measurements. Maybe the tip of the ball got it. 4 minutes, 4 seconds remaining. Denver looking for more, leading 30-0 late 3rd quarter. And this will be first down at the 34 of Buffalo.
You know, sometimes teams can be accused of running up a score. But let me tell you something from having played. When you're in this situation, if you're the team that's out front, if you let up and relax, that's usually when you get injured. You have to keep your nose to the grindstone all the time.
Sammy Winder pulls ahead for a couple of yards.
Sammy Winder. Let's watch from the sideline, see what happens there. You see number 87, Jim Wright, leading the way. Oh, and is he met in the middle by Chris Keating, the inside linebacker.
Reminder, Keating is playing in place of the injured Jim Haslett. Sean McNanny playing for the injured Ben Williams on defense. Lucius Sanford went out with an injury. Rookie Stan Davidson there.
I think Kubiak just changed the play.
And Winder is chased by Marv. And Eugene Marv gets him. Back by the 37.
I think Kubiak saw that the blitz was on and he was trying to get the ball outside very quickly. And if you're able to do that, you don't have much pursuit. But number 54, Eugene Marv, would have none of it. He grabs Sammy Winder, keeps him in bounds. Clock is running. He's some linebacker, that Eugene Marv. Oh,
pushed back close to the 36, which will set up a 3rd and 11 or 12. Shotgun, Kubiak. Wide open. Clint Sampson, what a collision. And it's ruled incomplete, and Sampson's down. Don Wilson with the collision of the day. My goodness. You will hear the collision on this replay when Sampson made the catch, and they're tending to him. Let's hope it's not serious. He collided with Donald Wilson, and you will hear it on this play. Shotgun, Kubiak. Wide open. Clint Sampson, what a collision.
And that's one of those really unfortunate situations in a game when you have quarterback and receiver get in a situation where you're not quite sure where the defensive person is. Sampson, of course, had to go for the football. Number 21, Don Wilson, he doesn't know that the person might be injured. He has to do his job. Sort of one of those unfortunate things that can happen in the game, and it's blind like that. Boy, he took some shot there.
When you look at number 84, Sampson, being 10-2, your thoughts cannot help but think of another 84 by the name of Darryl Stingley. 6 years ago, playing in Los Angeles. And Jack Tatum hit him. And we just hope that that Sampson's okay. That's all we can really say at this point.
I think the thing you can see on this replay is that when Don Wilson hits Sampson, he doesn't do it in an intentional, dirty fashion. It wasn't as though he went for the receiver's head or whatever. He was going, making a clean shot, a clean tackle. Unfortunately, the result is that Sampson is down, injured. Of course, we don't know the extent of the injury yet. You can obviously see the concern on the face of Dan Reeves and linebacker Tom Jackson. And, you know, I think Don Wilson, I think right now is probably worried. You know, I think he said initially he was probably, okay, I made a good play, but I think right now the thing that's going through his mind is that I hope he's not injured seriously. You know, no football player, regardless of how tough you play in this game, and you can go at it really tough, no player wants to see another player seriously injured.
As you can see, they've rolled out the stretcher, and of course our thoughts and hopes are with Clint Sampson, young man out of San Diego State, playing in his second season with the Broncos. Perhaps the scariest play in football, that wide receiver going over the middle, and the defensive back in his sights can see both the ball and the wide receiver coming, and of course the wide receiver doesn't see the defensive back coming. He senses it. He's looking for the ball, and there it is. And to see his head jar like that on the replay.
And again, in my opinion, and I think it clearly shows on the replay, that Don Wilson did not go after Sampson with the intent to harm him. I think he was just trying to do his job. Much was made about the fact that Jack Tatum, when he hit Darryl Stingley, put a little more effort into it with shoulder and forearm. That certainly wasn't the case here.
Obviously, they're a bit hesitant to move Clint Sampson. And of course, in a situation such as this one, the officials will wait as long as they deem necessary to protect the safety of the player.
There you can see the concern of Clint's teammates on the sidelines. Number 79, Barney Chavis.
It's something that I'm sure you can relate to. It's in the back of the minds of every player who's played this game.
But you know, it's particularly for a receiver, and I played this position for 11 years in the NFL. I had some plays called where I had to go across the middle like this. You can't have that thought in the back of your mind because it will prevent you from playing well. Now, what you can do is in practice sessions and so forth, you try to attune yourself to when you go across the middle. You try to learn how to protect yourself if you can. But there's certain situations where there's not much that can be done. When a pass is thrown high, your body tells you concentrate on the football and sort of look at that football all the way. You can't be looking for the defender. Once you do that, then you get labeled as a person who won't go across the middle. You've heard that before.
Sure. Yeah. A guy who hears footsteps, so to speak.
That's right. It's just, it's a part of the game. That's an unfortunate part of the game. But if it's a result of clean play, then there's no one at fault. And again, Don Wilson from the Bills, I don't think intentionally tried to hurt the receiver.
If you're just joining us and are tuning in on this situation, we are late in the third quarter, 2 minutes and 39 seconds remaining in the third quarter in Buffalo. And here is the play with Denver leading 30-0. The backup quarterback is Gary Kubiak looking for Clint Sampson. Wide open. Clint Sampson, what a collision. And it's just a hollow sound of a hit. The pads colliding.
Well, they put, you can see the brace that they've taped around his neck and his face mask, and I think what they've done here is to try to make sure that his neck and his spine area remain straight. They don't get a lot of movement in that sort of thing. Because we can see that Clint is moving his arms around. He's certainly able to move. He's not knocked out. I think that an awful lot of this is just taking precautionary measures, and hopefully we'll be able to get a report. You can see him moving his arm there. Hopefully we'll be able to get a report as to what the extent of the injury is later on.
They have an ambulance there backing up towards the goalpost to the far side. And there's the ambulance, and they will take Sampson to a nearby hospital. Clint Sampson, as we mentioned, a second-year player, and he's wheeled off. The fans, it's a hopeful applause. And we hope you're okay, Clint, and that's, of course, our feelings as well. Remember that game late last season when John Elway connected on 2 bombs to Sampson for touchdowns. And
he's a player that the Broncos feel have an awful lot of raw ability, and the only thing he really needs in order to really become a standout wide receiver is just to play, get more playing action. You hate to see this happen to any player, but again, we don't really know the extent of the injury, and I think an awful lot of this is precautionary measures, and hopefully we'll have some report before too long.
Please report to the locker room immediately.
They just put out the page in the loudspeaker here in Buffalo for a doctor to report to the locker room. There is a doctor in attendance. They paged him by name, and needless to say, for the concerned folks watching back in Denver and everywhere else, the instant we get a report on Sampson, we will pass it along to you. So the officials are waiting for the ambulance to move away from behind the goalpost before they resume action. Again, we are late in the third quarter, 2 minutes and 39 seconds remaining.
Again, man, I can't help but still think about how Don Wilson, the defender who hit Sampson, must feel at this point. I just have to believe that he, somewhere in the pit of his stomach, is really concerned, and you know, he's certainly not pleased that you can see that
he's shaking his head. He's thinking about it. He's standing on the field ready to receive a probable Denver punt here. When we resume, it will be 4th down. And the thoughts that young man must be thinking right now. We sit and broadcast football games, and the players go back and forth, and points are scored, and games are won and lost. But this is what really drives home the human nature of this game, people playing.
And it's an unfortunate example of the dangers, you know, of the game, and I think everyone that comes into this game as a player, you realize there are some inherent dangers to playing football, but you accept that risk and you play the best you can. And as I said, it's unfortunate that you do have sometimes severe injuries, but it's a part of the game, and we all come into it realizing that. But again, I don't want to speculate that Clint's injury is one of a very, very serious nature. We don't know at all, and as you pointed out, Lenny, as soon as we do get a report, we'll pass the information along.
They're going to drive the ambulance right outside the stadium, we're told, where a helicopter is standing by to take him to the hospital. So obviously they're taking him a distance, and it may take us a few minutes to get a report on Sampson, but we promise you we'll try our best before we leave you this afternoon to let you know how Clint Sampson is. And back to the matters of football, as John Elway, who has not played in the second half, looks on. This is 4th down, and Chris Norman is on to punt at midfield. And the young man who made the hit on Sampson, Donald Wilson, is back at his 10. And they take the 30-second delay of game penalty. And they will just move it back 5 yards and set it up again.
Actually, in terms of the kicker, I think he'd rather have the ball back 5 yards, because it gives him really a better shot to try to get it out of bounds, and also gives his people going down to down the ball a better chance to be able to down it before it gets into the end zone. So that's a sign of a football team that's thinking all the way, and as you said before, they're going to be facing the LA Raiders, so they have to maintain their sharpness.
He's aiming out of bounds and kicks it into the stands. But they're going to bring it back, perhaps. Let's see what Cashin does. The official is motioning. There's Red Cashin.
17-yard punt, 1st down Buffalo.
All right, so he'll set up there, 1st down. It's listed as a 17-yard punt. And Buffalo will start at its 23. Matt Kofler still a quarterback. Joe Ferguson has not played in the second half. He's okay. They're just giving Kofler some work with the big deficit. It's 30-0 Denver. 2.5 minutes remaining, 3rd quarter. Kofler throws it complete to Greg Bell. Greg Bell on the pickup. The early word on Clint Sampson is he is being helicoptered at the moment to Buffalo General Hospital. Is a suspected concussion, but he is being taken to Buffalo General for a full examination. Second and 5 for Buffalo. A flag goes down. Kofler comes out of there, throws it complete to Preston Denard, but this whole thing may be for naught.
I think you could bet your money that it's going to be offensive holding.
That's it.
9 times out of 10, when that flag is thrown in that area, that's the call.
And 9 times out of 10 when Buffalo gets a big gain.
Holding number 53 on the offense. Still second down.
Will Grant, the man in the middle, the center, said, wait a minute, was it me?
So now Buffalo's pushed back to the 18. And there's the penalty story. Buffalo last year led the league in penalties. This year they may not lead the league, but they certainly do in inopportune penalties. 2nd and 15 from the 18 for the Bills. From the shotgun. He has time this time, completes it. Byron Franklin for a big gainer out across the 40. Dennis Smith finally catching up with him. 26-yard pass play. Kofler to Franklin.
Finally, the Bills are getting some time to throw the ball. Broncos rushing 4 men, including the outside linebacker Tom Jackson. But Byron Franklin coming across the middle in the zone. Picks this one up. Dennis Smith on the tackle.
26-yard pass play.
So now they're out to their 43. A reminder, the best penetration they've had, the Denver 41. They did get past there once, but there was one of those penalties that brought it back. Minute 33 remaining now, third quarter. Greg Bell hangs on around midfield for a pickup of 6 yards. Ball popped out of there. Bell grabbed it. Steve Busick covering.
I think Louis Wright thought he was going to have his second interception of the game. He was hoping that ball was going to pop up a little higher. If it had, he would have been there. Louis Wright. I was going to say the pleasure. I wouldn't call it a pleasure playing against him.
Yeah.
The displeasure of playing against him. What a terrific cornerback.
St. Louis coming back. Lomax just hit Roy Green, 83-yarder, but they missed the extra point. A missed extra point. Washington with a 1-point lead over St. Louis. Well, yellow flag time again.
I think it's against Buffalo. Jim Richter.
Well, the odds are pretty good as it starts to rain again in Orchard Park.
False start. Setting up too early. Number 51 on the offense. Still second down.
That's embarrassing.
Well, you need a head start. With the way the Broncos have been rushing, he saw Andre Townsend over there, number 61. He said, I'm going to get a head start.
Boy, you start to back up 2 steps and look around and you say, I had the count right. The rest of you guys are wrong. The rain's coming down pretty hard now. This will be a 2nd and 9 at the 44. Chase is on. Kofler deep for Franklin. Dennis Smith mistimed his jump, and it came right through to Franklin, but he wasn't able to hold on. Near interception by Smith. Near reception in return by Franklin.
Well, the Bills are trying to do anything they can to get on the board. Here, Kofler's going to roll out and throws a pretty nice pass, but actually Dennis Smith, as you mentioned, I think he mistimed it a bit. He was in good position. He's in good position right there, goes up, and as you said, it goes right between his hands, sort of mistimed it. Instead of having an interception, ball just comes back as an incomplete pass.
39 seconds remaining now, third quarter. This is 3rd and 9 for Buffalo from its 45.
And they go to their spread offense again. 3 receivers on one side.
They need the Denver 46. Kofler out for Denard. No, sir. And Buffalo will punt once again.
Steve Wilson, man on the coverage. Denard really had no chance at all. It wasn't open. I think Kofler just put that one up there and said, well, let's see what happens. But Wilson was the man on the spot. Good coverage.
Well, if there's one bright spot for Buffalo, it's hard to find one when it's 30-0. But if there is a spot, it's the punting of John Kidd. Put on quite a show today. He's the rookie who beat out Greg Cater on the final day of cuts. Wilhite from the 17 is dragged down. Tackle made by Rob Riddick. Look at this one. Miami extends it to 37 now, 24 over New England. Dan Marino, 15 yards to Nat Moore. Marino's 4th touchdown pass of the day. Miami looking to go 8-0. The field goal battle goes on at Riverfront. Cincinnati leads at 9-6. Green Bay, this is a game of surges. Green Bay now within 3 of Seattle in the 4th quarter.
Giants and Philadelphia tied up.
That's the time left. 3rd quarter. Kubiak at quarterback. Denver from its 25. Winder heads outside. Winder nearly breaks it out to the 40. First down for Sammy Winder before Steve Freeman caught up with him.
You know, that play was a good example of the style of runner that Sammy Winder is. When you see a back who's built the way he is, you think of him as just a scat back. But watch the way he maneuvers in between the tacklers. Keeps his legs going all the time. Not going to let one man bring him down. Really runs like a fullback.
Gun goes off, sounding the end of the 3rd quarter. A 3rd quarter marred by the injury to Clint Sampson. 19-yard gain for Winder. Our score, Denver 30, Buffalo nothing. We'll be right back to Orchard Park, New York after this station break.
Today's game is brought to you by Mazda and the full line of sophisticated Mazda products. By Castrol, motor oil engineered for today's smaller, higher revving engines. And by the American Express card. Don't leave home without it.
Lights are on at Rick Stadium. Overcast, slightly raining. It's been a dark day for Buffalo Bills fans. And 30-0 now as we start the 4th quarter. Kubiak as Denver starts at the 39. Pitch back to Sammy Winder. Winder picks up more yardage close to a first down near midfield. And the scene a few moments ago on tape, Clint Sampson being taken to Buffalo General Hospital to the right. You can see the helicopter taking off. Taking Sampson, the early word was a suspected concussion. We have someone standing by at the hospital. As soon as we get word on the exact nature of his injury, we will pass it along to you. Another first down for Sammy Winder, 2 in a row. And now Denver will start just across midfield in Buffalo territory. Opening moments of the 4th quarter, 30-0 Denver.
Comes a blitz by the Bills.
They got him. Stan David, the rookie from Texas Tech, with his first professional sack.
Maybe too little too late, but nonetheless, Stan David, number 59, gets him on the sack. Blitzing. But they're going to have to do an awful lot more of that.
Major league sack and a loss of 11. Let's call this 2nd and 21 from way back on the 39.
Here they come again. Here's another blitz.
David got him late and was thrown into a crowd. Winder was there, as was linebacker Chris Keating for Buffalo. But David nearly had another one. Kubiak, slow getting up, has to be saying, help, guys.
And all the linebackers in there. David, Talley, they were all in there.
There's Chris Keating. He comes off as Buffalo puts in the extra defensive backs now in a nickel situation. Buffalo going with 6 defensive backs in this formation. 4-man rush, so now leaves you 1 linebacker, Eugene Marr. 3rd and 21 from the 39. No flag. I thought there might have been a holding in there as they were trying to ward off charging linebacker, but pass incomplete. And Denver will now have to punt, which they haven't been doing much of today.
For the Bills at this point, trailing 30-0, 14 minutes ago in the 4th quarter. And I mentioned it earlier, what they're really playing for here is just trying to get some confidence in their offense and or their defense. And just to build a little momentum, not that they're going to win the football game, but they need to feel that they can do it. I don't know if that makes a whole lot of sense, but it's just they need to be able to look at one another and say, look, we can do this. We can score.
Or we could be especially going to the Orange Bowl next week to play the undefeated Dolphins. Chris Norman nearly blocked. Down goes Norman. No flag. And the ball is punted out of bounds at the 34. Well, let us see.
I didn't quite understand what he said, but you know, he went down, and it's a funny situation.
So the ball must be partially blocked. Let's see. Hard to tell, but the ruling must be that the ball was partially blocked. Then the action between Bayless and the punter Norman. All right, we'll be right back. Buffalo ball. Seconds remaining. Buffalo with a tough uphill climb.
Oh boy, when we started out the telecast, we referred to them as the bad luck Bills, and they haven't really done anything to change that tune. But again, give an awful lot of credit to the Denver defense. They have just been really awesome today.
Matt Kofler continues at quarterback for Buffalo. Pitches it to Greg Bell. Bell tries to put a fake on, but can't do it. As Darren Como, the linebacker, stayed right with him all the way. And Buffalo, hurry up offense. They're not going to huddle here. This will be 2nd and 2 from the 41. And again, it's Bell. He's got the first down at the 45. And he's dragged down by Carl Mecklenburg. So Buffalo picks up a first down. 2 plays without a huddle, and they're out near the 45.
Well, one of the things you can do when you go from the line of scrimmage without a huddle is that you can prevent certain plays from getting into the defense. There you can see nice protection for the Bills. Greg Bell getting the reception coming out, but the defense doesn't have time to look to the sidelines for their calls. So that's, I think, why they're doing that.
All right, as they near their deepest penetration, thrown to the tight end Buster Barnett. Mecklenburg covering again.
The Bills will line up without a huddle. What they do in the huddle is that the quarterback calls 2 plays in the huddle. Gives them both plays. Now they can come up and run the second play. Here comes the blitz.
Oh! Really nailed by Ken Woodard.
That's by number 52, Ken Woodard.
Kenny Woodard. A lot of people think that Woodard's going to be a big star in the NFL because he can run so fast and he really hits. Young player, but they expect big things from him. Talk about another linebacker they expect big things from. Fella they just got in a trade, or anyway got the rights to.
Ricky Hundley, the kid from Arizona, couldn't sign with Cincinnati, may play for Denver next week. Buffalo trying not to repeat a shutout. Forced way back here on 3rd down and 15. Kofler gets it out near midfield, but they need to get to the Denver 45, and they're 5 yards short. They go for it. Crowd is yelling, go. You're down 30-0. Instead, John Kidd, the punter. Maybe they'll fake it. I mean, it's 4th and 5. And you would say, what do you have to lose? But they're going to punt it away.
Maybe they have a pass off of the punt. Who knows?
Punt all the way. Another good one by Kidd. It bounces into the end zone. It'll be a touchback. So John Kidd does his job. Doesn't quite hit the coffin corner. 11:33 remaining in the ball game now. Denver lead. They've got the ball back. So Denver starts on their own 20 again. Gary Kubiak has been the quarterback throughout the second half after John Elway's shoulder stiffened up in late first half. Elway 2 touchdown passes in the first half. Pitch back to Winder. And Sammy is thrown for a couple of yard loss. Fred Smerlas, the nose tackle, making the stop. Elsewhere around the league, Minnesota still hanging on. leading Detroit 14-13. Chicago, big over Tampa Bay, fourth quarter in Florida. Miami looking to go 8-0 over a good Patriots team in Foxborough. The missed extra point for St. Louis. The difference there, Washington leading at 24-23. Second and 12 for Denver from their 18. Look out. Kubiak. Credit a sack on that play to Ken Johnson. Let's pause briefly for a station identification. This is the NBC television network. Back in Orchard Park, New York, Len Berman along with Gene Washington. 10 minutes and 47 seconds remaining in the fourth quarter. We have an injured Bill on the field. Third and long coming up for Denver. As Ken Johnson, the fellow who really recorded that sack, was the fellow down, and now he's gingerly walking off the field. Denver leading it 30-0. As the Broncos looking for their 6th straight win, hoping to take a temporary half-game lead over the Raiders for first place in the AFC West. The Raiders just underway in San Diego. That's the second half of our doubleheader. Many of you will be seeing the Raiders and Chargers once this one ends. In some areas of the country, we'll see Kansas City taking on the Jets as our NBC Sports NFL doubleheader continues this Sunday. As soon as this game's over. Raiders in San Diego, one game. Chiefs and Jets, the other game. 3rd and 19 for the Broncos. They have to get it all the way out to the 30. Off to Winder coming around. Winder gets just across the 20, and this will set up a punting situation. Eugene Marv making the tackle for Buffalo. So once again, the Bills, as they've had, they can't blame field position on this today. They've had good position many times. They just haven't been able to move the ball against the Denver defense.
But as you pointed out, though, Len, the times that they did move the ball, when they started to get something going right, they'd get a penalty. Invariably, they'd come away with a penalty. They seem to be snake-bitten, but they're bringing an awful lot on themselves.
That's Donald Wilson, the fellow again who hit Clint Sampson. Chris Norman back to punt for Denver. Denver having trouble lining up, finally getting an 11th man on the field. Taking their time. Going for the block. Don't get it. Line drive coming down to Wilson at the 38. And lassoed right there in his tracks. A fine defensive play. Turned in by the Broncos. By Randy Robbins as he grilled them right there. If he could have gotten away from Robbins, Wilson could have picked up some yardage. And there's a flag on the field, I believe, on the far side. So let's see what this is. Will they do it again?
Holding against the Bills.
Guess who? Kay Stevenson had that 500 season his rookie year a year ago, and now he is staring at 0 for half.
Holding after the kick. Number 40 of the receivers, 10-yard penalty. First down and 10.
So much for the extra good field position. There's Rob Riddick. So we come back. Buffalo will set up from its 28. They're trailing 30-0. We'll be right back to Buffalo, New York, everybody.
Said down.
Well, take heart, Buffalo fans. New England fans are sympathetic. Pete Johnson just ran it in from 3 yards away. 44-24 Miami. And Buffalo has to play them next week. Here it's 30-0 Denver. First down from the 28. Kofler runs away from trouble. Scott Garnett goes after him. Finally, he's nailed by Rulon Jones. Bad news for Buffalo is they still have another 9 minutes to play, Jim.
One of the Denver players is they're attending to down on the sideline.
There's a man with a nice view, enjoying himself on an overcast day in Buffalo. Not too many friends, of course, but Maybe it could only get one ticket. That's Scott Garnett.
Nose tackle.
He's a young backup nose tackle regarded very highly. Rookie draft choice in the 8th round out of Washington. He had a couple of blocks of Lynn Dickey passes on successive plays last Monday night. He's a good one. Clock is running now. 9 minutes remaining in this one. Jets. Pat Ryan to Bobby Humphrey. 7-0, 44-yard pass. Some of you will be seeing that game when this game ends. Kofler had some protection, had to run out of there, and then chased by Reuben Carter.
The Broncos defensive line continues to put pressure on. Number 68, Reuben Carter, nose tackle. He alternates with Scott Garnett, but Reuben Carter's the man who starts out. There you see Barney Chavis, number 79. Those two fellows have been around here a long time and played some awfully good football for this Bronco defense.
Carter put in a full day's pay on that play alone. This is 3rd and 16 for Buffalo from their own 22. Matt Kofler. Over the middle for intercepted. Darren Como flips it back. Flipped it over to Wilson. That's the 4th interception today for the Denver Broncos, who lead the league in interceptions.
Let's watch here. Here's number 85, Byron Franklin, and Como. He just steps in there, comes up, and look at this. You talk about being confident. There, you take it. I've gone as far as I can go. Get another 5 yards out of it.
Steve Wilson. There you go.
Look at the turnovers. The Bills have turned the ball over 5 times.
4 interceptions, 1 fumble. Denver fans loving it. Their first place Broncos about to go 7-1 through half the season. And even the most optimistic Bronco fan wouldn't have thought that. Jim Wright down to the 14. Steve Freeman making the tackle.
Number 87, Jim Wright.
Elsewhere, there's that Miami-New England score, 44-24 for the first place undefeated Dolphins. Washington continues by a point over St. Louis. Boy, field goal heaven in Cincinnati. If you love field goals, you should have gone to Riverfront. Detroit beat Minnesota 16-14. Pittsburgh, as Indianapolis finally gets on the board, 13-3 there. Seattle leading Green Bay by 6. First down from the 14 for the Broncos. Kubiak. Touchdown. Good night. And they're cheering. They're on their feet cheering Denver in derisive style. 36-0 Buffalo, 14-yard touchdown. Denver on top.
There are a few Bronco fans. Let's watch from the end zone. The reason Winder is so wide open is that the Bills come on a blitz. Winder let the person go, the linebacker that he would ordinarily pick up on a blitz. He let him go. Therefore, he's out there by himself. No one covered him. Touchdown for the Broncos.
Fans remaining starting to cheer for Denver. As Rich Carlos will try to make it 37-0 Broncos. Red Cashin signals good. Official timeout. The Denver Broncos putting on a show offensively and defensively. This one is Kubiak to Sammy Winder. The Broncos go up on top 37-0. Back in Buffalo, 7 minutes, 37 seconds remaining in a Denver Bronco victory. It's 37-0. And that defense leading the league in interceptions, 4 more to pad the park today. Denver defense just stifling again this afternoon. Short kick by Carlos, taken by Wilson at the 19. Wilson heads to the near side. Donald Wilson gets to the 29. So that's where Buffalo will start again. Jets leading Kansas City 7-0 underway. San Francisco 7-0 over winless Houston, that one in the first quarter. And look at this one. San Diego takes the early lead on the Raiders. If that score holds up, Denver could own first place by themselves at the end of today. And of course, Denver playing the Raiders next Sunday in Los Angeles. Many of you will be seeing the Raiders in San Diego when this one ends. And Miami 8-0, defeating the Patriots 44-24.
Well, anyway, when the game started out, we talked about the fact that Denver's defense has really been dominant. The reason they've done as well as they have. Oh, look at that! Brookins!
Brookins, touchdown! The rookie from Illinois, Mitchell Brookins. His first NFL touchdown, a beauty, 70 yards from Matt Koeffler. Here it is. The Bills, at long last, ladies and gentlemen, are on the scoreboard.
Well, Brookins is the fastest receiver on the Bills team. Now, the Denver Broncos have put in their second string unit. I'm not trying to take anything away from Brookins, but this is number 28, Roger Jackson, over there, playing in the position that normally is held down by Louis Wright. Maybe the Bills saw it. That's why they called the play. The result is 6 points.
So the Bills strike quickly, as it takes them just 19 seconds to do it. 70 yards from Matt Koeffler on a fly pattern to Mitchell Brookins, getting behind Roger Jackson.
Let's watch again from the end zone. The thing to remember here is Roger Jackson usually is the backup safety. Steve Wilson, in the event of an injury to either Mike Harden or Louis Wright, Steve Wilson would be the cornerback that would go in. Let's watch again on the sidelines. Beautiful catch. Takes it in. Mitchell Brookins. Those are nice.
Yeah, but, you know, Brookins is a second stringer as well. So give him some credit, you know.
I didn't mean to downplay his touchdown. Whenever a receiver scores, I'm happy, but I really just wanted
he'll save this tape a lifetime. His first score in the NFL, with 7 minutes and 18 seconds remaining. Buffalo closes to within 30. Here they come. Interesting alignment here, as they apparently will be going for an onside kick. Here they come, the charge of the Light Brigade. Denver's got it. Mike Harden.
If he gets away,
Harden at the 40. Finally tackled at the 42.
Mike Harden took a page out of the Sammy Winder book of running. Let's watch again. Number 31. For a second there, I thought he was going to break to his left. I thought he was going to break here and go all the way. Gets turned back the other way. Look, good job of running.
Well, despite the score, we've seen some interesting formations today. The Buffalo 5 wide receivers, the pass to a quarterback, to Gary Kubiak, the onside charge of the onside kick brigade of Buffalo. 7 minutes remaining now as Denver starts with Buffalo 42. Gerald Wilhite on the carry. Stan David on the tackle for Buffalo. Inside of 7 minutes now.
I think it's Wilhite who's a little slow getting up, but he looks like he jammed his thumb or something on that play. It's pretty safe to say, though, that the Broncos will probably keep the ball on the ground from this point on out, and I think that if they have any extra offensive linemen, they would be in the football game. But as you mentioned before, Lynn, they're awfully thin at that spot. Coach Reeves and quarterback on the sideline.
2nd and 6 at the Buffalo 38. Rick Parrish is in at running back for Denver, the sole setback. There's Parrish. Fights to the 36. Darryl Talley on the tackle. You know, in a couple of weeks here on NBC Sports, it's the Super Bowl of horse racing. November 10th, horse racing's $10 million day. If you like horse racing, you'll love this. 4 hours of live coverage. It's the Breeders' Cup. Some of those races will have $2 and $3 million on the line for one 2-minute horse race. It'll be something. Breeders' Cup here on NBC Sports, November 10th. Hope you can join us. 3rd and 4 now at the Buffalo 36 for Denver. Gary Kubiak has been the quarterback throughout the second half. Kubiak throwing. Steve Watson receiving. First down, Denver at the Buffalo 23. Charles Rome's covering. Hey, take a look at this. This is really something. Denver leads the league, Gene, in this giveaway takeaway category. They added 4 or 5 more today. They picked up the 4 interceptions and the fumble.
And the real key, though, as you look at the takeaways, that's where the defense has taken the ball. Look at the Broncos. 33 takeaways, plus 18. That is really something. But if you look at that stat throughout the season, generally you will find the teams that are on top are the teams that have that good turnover ratio.
You know, Neil O'Donoghue atoned for that missed extra point for St. Louis. We'll show you the score in a moment. O'Donoghue kicked the winning field goal as St. Louis beat Washington.
Oh.
First down at the 23. Harris cuts back inside. Harris down inside the 15, close to another first down at the 13. And finally they bring him down. Steve Freeman and a host of other white shirts down there. We have a good angle of this one from the ground level, and Paris put on a good show here.
You know, when you're a player who doesn't get to play a lot like Rick Paris this season, when you get in there, you're not thinking about the fact that your team is way out in front. You're thinking about trying to do something yourself. So if the defensive players, they're way behind, they're thinking, well, let's get this one over with. Paris comes in and says, hey, I want to score.
John Elway saying, I want the Raiders next week. Be a battle for first place. Denver will either be tied with the Raiders at 7-1 or have a 1-game lead, depending on what happens in the San Diego game. 2nd and inches. Harris again, first down at the 10. 3:28 and counting. I mentioned before the Neil O'Donoghue missed extra point. Washington had a 1-point lead with 3 seconds remaining, Gene. Neil O'Donoghue kicked a 21-yard field goal, and St. Louis at home knocked off Washington 26-24. So both of those teams, St. Louis and Washington, go to 5-3. So St. Louis is one of the, well, not really a surprise. They
have really come on, though.
They had a good second half at the end of last season. Now they go to 5-3.
Roy Green has just turned out to be some receiver down in St. Louis. Came in as a defensive back, switched over to receiver.
I got another score in a second you're not going to believe. First and 10 at the 10. Harris stopped, maybe picked up half a yard. Steve Freeman on another tackle. You know, Indianapolis came back to take the lead on Pittsburgh with 16 seconds remaining, Gene.
Oh.
Pittsburgh was leading 13-0 at halftime. Look at this. With 34 seconds left, Pagel hit Ray Butler 54 yards. Indianapolis leads the Steelers 17-16. Philadelphia beat the Giants as we wind down to the 2-minute warning. Philadelphia beat the Giants 24-10. So that's the 2-minute warning. Our score here, 37-7 Denver. Here comes another one of those fantastic finishes. 2 minutes remaining. Denver leading virtually from beginning to end. A couple of touchdown passes from John Elway in the first half. In the second half, Gary Kubiak caught one pass, but also ran for a touchdown and threw for another one. Rick Paris added 3 field goals. 37-7. Denver over winless Buffalo. 2nd and 9 now from the 9. for Steve Freeman. Gets him again. The clock continues to run with 1 minute and 50 seconds remaining.
Well, the Broncos are certainly going to go into that Los Angeles game with an awful lot of confidence, both with their defense that continue to play superb football, but their offense playing extremely well today. Denver had usually fared well on offense with their running game, but today they've come out throwing the ball. John Elway has looked terrific. Kubiak coming in relief also looked good. So the Broncos are a high-flying team right now.
The highest point production of the year, and they're looking for more. 3rd and 4 from the 5. Pitch back to Paris. And Paris is stopped for a loss. With 57 seconds remaining, the executive producer of NBC Sports is Michael Weissman. Coordinating producer of football, Ted Nathanson. Telecast of today's game, produced by Peter Rolfe. Directed by Mark Warner. NFL 84, produced by John J. Filippelli. Directed by Bucky Guntz. NFL 84 update producer, Tom Roy. Technical directors, Jim Marshall and Richard Sansevier. Associate director, Steve Rosen and Mary Buda Lemusio. NFL 84 associate producer, Rick Diamond. And the rest of the men and women behind NBC Sports coverage of the National Football League in 1984. Clock is running, 20 seconds remaining. There will not be another play. Denver chooses not to roll it up. 37-7. The final numbers, Denver in first place with a 6-game winning streak. Goes to 7-1. Buffalo 0 for half a season. And our best wishes and prayers go to Clint Sampson.